Today, as we head into Border, Lethal Gaming versus Most Wanted, kicking off here on Border, our first map of the night to decide who goes home in this Group B setup and who will advance to a second chance game next week.
And will you look at that Lethal, a Habana and a Thermite. They're bringing the best of both worlds here to their attack on the Armory. That's, I think, a really good decision on their part. We are also seeing a Glass, which is pretty commonplace on this particular map, and no Montaigne, which, again, pretty commonplace.
So this is what you're saying, right? You bring Hibana and Thermite, yes, you forgo maybe a little bit of firepower here and there, but what do you bring to match that up? You bring Glaz and Blackbeard, two of the strongest killing machines the defensive team have to play with right now.
One thing I have to question is the Ash pick, though, over a Thatcher. Now, I could see it working if what they're going to be doing with that Ash is bringing her underneath the site and trying to Ash charge under the walls that they need to open to maybe get rid of maybe a Bandit who's Bandit tricking or a Mute who's Mute tricking, because we do have a Mute here on the defensive team.
Mute tricking's not possible anymore.
Mute tricking's not possible anymore, okay.
Because they took away the delay from the Mute charge dying to actually going off.
Well, putting a Mute charge on the wall, I suppose,
yeah,
is what I meant to say.
just the pre-placed Mute still does get stopped, you're right. I do want to also note as to how they're set up, whether it is a 9 smoke grenades with the Ash and the Thermite here,
yeah.
or if the Thermite's perhaps bringing the Claymore to compensate for Thatcher not being here with it, in which case Ash's smoke grenades on top of Glaz's may be a necessity.
You can have 3 players bring smoke grenades, and it can be very useful, but I don't think it's entirely necessary. We are seeing stun grenades on the Habana instead of a Claymore, so it's possible that we will see a Claymore on the Thermite. We'll see if they want to actually work that into their gameplay at all.
Yeah, they are pushing this Blackbeard from the eastern spawn. Is no real surprise there, as he's going to be on the balcony or on top of the toll booth and whatnot to control that B site. But the nice quick first kill onto my man too over from this balcony. But the other thing to note was my man jumped out to make that happen. So Chalet trading away what is honestly a free kill to really help the attackers here, while their attack was still really taking shape. They hadn't actually decided where to go, but now Lethal are all shaping up towards this A-bomb site. And it's no Claymore on Thermite.
There's a trade back from Foxay, and that's what I was about to say is my man did get taken out from the Blackbeard, but he lit him up to the point where he would die to a couple leg shots, and that's really important. When you're talking about a Blackbeard, he needs to be able to get shot in the torso or the legs and go down easy. So he kind of traded it in a sense.
Beautiful play from Fox. He had that camera out there. Gun Havoc knew about it. He was looking for it, but all looking in the wrong direction. After that Blackbeard fell down, they realized Valk had something, but wasn't spotted by Gun Havoc, and he climbs up the ladder into easy kill from Most Wanted. Now they are in a 4 versus 3 situation. The wall's open thanks to Thermite, and the smoke grenades have gone off. They're trying to bait out smokes. They're trying to bait out C4s with teasing in and out, but they can't quite get this defense shaken up.
Now the problem with this particular attack is they're going to have a lot of trouble with this mirror. Oh, they're going to be opening up with a Habana, so that's really great that they're showing that bringing the Thermite and the Habana is extremely useful in this attack.
They did just get spotted there through that hole just by Senses' bright yellow thermal scope. So she is now pinned down in this corner. He's waiting for her to stand up. But that means he can't put his attention towards the Mute, or the Valkyries are over by the A-bomb now. So yes, the smokes are going out, but they're running low on smoke grenades, and there's still C4 being held by a lot of the defenders. Gurmy Wormy is flanking, or rather, he's holding the flank, and this is, as you mentioned with Smoke, he's so good at solo holding this area, so if the attackers try to flank around that way and switch to the other bomb site, he can hold them off for so damn long that it's not going to matter. Nice quick pick from Nade onto Zed out through that hole, and the attackers are losing numbers again. Lethal push in, AWZ, and he does grab 1 kill, but Gurmy will trade senses with that flank through CCTV. Now AWZ is looking for a kill on his own, and he's surrounded from all sides, and Lethal hold for round number 1.
So that was a great round from Most Wanted. That initial peek out from a man, while it did look to be to the detriment of the defenders, given that they were a man down, that lighting him up, allowing Valkyrie to trade it back, and then that excellent aggression from Valkyrie onto that Ash coming up the ladder, put them in such a man advantage that that push from Lethal, while it could have merit, and they did have something to take care of the mirror window, there were not enough warm bodies on the attacking team to actually make it happen, to get the trade backs, to establish dominance, and because of that, just kind of stalled out.
So, time to shake things up a little bit and put the tables the other way around. Lethal onto defense, Most Wanted onto attack. There is some big changes in the Most Wanted attack roster, but the defensive lineup here for Lethal, similar, with the reduction of Mute for Jaeger.
It's really interesting that Senses is putting the reinforcement on the right wall there instead of the left one, because that means it's going to give the attackers a little bit more of an aggressive angle onto somebody playing that particular position. Since his stats on the screen here for you, you can see he mains Fuse and Valkyrie. Fuse, kind of an interesting attack main.
Yeah, definitely so. From their matches last week, something which we don't see too much of these days.
They did play Chalet, I believe, so that's likely the reason that that's coming up as his highest picked attack operator.
But to be fair, even there, when we saw other teams play Chalet, yes, Fuse was shown up from time to time, but he was by no means a most pick for some of these players. So interesting that they were that tried and true with him every round. They
were bringing him on a basement attack as well. They were using his fuses in the lobby. It was really interesting the way they were trying to make it work for them. It unfortunately didn't, but they certainly tried, yeah.
As it is, Most Wanted now looking to shape up their attack in a similar direction here, round towards the A-bomb site, once again using this Thermite's big holes to open up the side of the map. They have a Thatcher though, so getting through these batteries on the wall should be a bit easier for them if they can get Bandit away from juggling.
The problem is though, there is a mirror window on the small office, which is the same as what they were using, a different wall of course, but they do not have a Hibana to take care of it. So it's going to come down to maybe a Blackbeard holding the angle, waiting for the peek, and using his shield to his advantage to win it. Who knows? But they have to take care of that mirror before they can move their way through this A wall.
So he's looking through the hole at the moment and waiting for it, but no one's showing themselves to that position. Meanwhile, Foxer is pushing elsewhere and is taking down Chalet from below, in fact, with a quick headshot from underneath. That's not the Bandit, though, so the juggle's just going to go through, but it is the smoke, and that's a big deal. Bandit trick going down straight onto the same wall as the Thermite charge, and that will kill it off. Perfect timing by AWZ, and Foxer was not there underneath to punish him. Straight onto a pre-batteried wall, and he did cancel it? The Bandit does die to Blackbeard in that moment, but I don't think they've lost both Thermite charges to that.
I can't tell. It kind of looked... Yeah, they did.
It's gone.
What?
I don't know if
some miscommunication there going on from the attackers. Obviously, Thatcher not in a good position to throw his Thatchers, I guess, to get rid of that battery. Yeah. Obviously, it seems like Thermite was kind of rushing himself a little bit, but it's not going to matter because it's a 2 versus 5 now as Esley gets a kill onto Zed.
Yeah, Esley picking up 2 kills so far for himself. Senses comes around the corner, looks for 1. It's an immediate trade back, and my man finishes off Gun Havoc to end out the round.
Oh, it's so satisfying. It's even satisfying to hear. But that was a really odd attack round.
That was my man looking at Senses, accidentally killing Gun Havoc through the wall behind him.
Oh, wow.
Senses was the one they were all fired. 3 players fired at Senses. He got 1 of them and then got traded back. And my man's bullet went through the wall behind him into lockers and killed Gun Havoc.
That had to have been a headshot because it looked like only like 2 bullets went through the wall. Yeah. That's pretty crazy. Kind of a little bit of luck of the draw there, I suppose. But it wouldn't have mattered anyway. It was a 1 versus 5 at that point.
I know.
But no, that was crazy. But the round, though, that was an odd round. They lost on the A. They didn't. Their strat just fell apart.
Their A strat fell apart, and then everyone on defense just decided to die.
Blah. They all. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
But either way, it puts them 2 rounds up now as Most Wanted look to try and defend this basement, or the lower floor level, the ventilation and the workshop area. This is a setup which we've seen done in various different ways from a lot of different teams.
Yeah, a team will open up bathroom and try to play aggressively onto tellers, or they'll close it off completely. You know, it really comes down to the preference of the team. That sometimes some people will, or teams will stack 4 or 3 players upstairs and try to hard hold it to deny vertical control to the attackers. And here you can see Gurmy Wormy's statistics on the screen. He is a Thatcher smoke main, so a lot of utility on that particular player. But yeah, no, teams hold this particular site very differently. We do have an IQ coming out, and that's kind of an interesting pick here from Chalet. It makes a lot of... It is on okay, an interesting pick that she went with IQ, and then even more interesting that went with the AUG over the 5.52 or 5.56.
5.56. No, 5.52. 5.56 is Thermite.
Yeah. Well, whatever the case be, the other rifle. So I'm guessing they're probably bringing him to the table to try and get rid of Valkyrie cams that might be outside, but there is no Valkyrie on the defensive team right now.
So we'll see how they choose to use her instead. They have the Ashe in a combination too, so as far as those 2 go, they are very fast, very nimble operators if they choose to find and exploit an opening. But first they've got to kill 3 players off the top floor.
Yeah.
So how do they get this done? Well, last time around, they couldn't. That was the problem in how they lost the first attack round up here. They couldn't shake these players from on this upper still. Now there's less reinforcements, there's less defense here this time from Most Wanted, but is it going to be enough? And
it is kind of interesting that Most Wanted decided not to reinforce this wall, considering they are playing 4 players now upstairs. It's basically another armory hold. That's the way they're trying to play it. So again, very
this
interesting.
would be where I'd like to see the Lethal guys go, oh, there's 4 players upstairs? No.
Let's go
rush
into
the bomb site. We got 3-3 speeds.
We saw that work. I can't remember what the matchup was, but we did see a team simply walk in through the front door of the map itself and then into the ventilation site and plant in the threshold of the doorway. It's like 2 feet. You just have to travel 2 feet, and no one can really stop you as long as you have one person, this Glaz, for example, looking through the wall, covering the upstairs.
Foxer is pinned inside this little bunker in the corner. Senses saw him go in there and hasn't seen him come out. Trying to find other opening. Foxer's just happy to stay crouched down there and wait for him to be pinned. Zed, meanwhile, is picking up Gummy elsewhere, but my man takes down AWZ for a quick kill and the diffuser drop. Foxer gets downed out there as Gun Havoc starts to flank around. This is them using those 3 speeds now, pushing them in through the side office. My man has got the mirror window though and uses the drop shot kill to take down Chalet, who missed every single shot coming around that corner. Zed misses another shot, my man, who sprints off and gets back into the office as the top floor is now starting to slip from Most Wanted control. Using this rotate back down through the hatch, he is back and in closer to the bomb site, but with the sheer fear factor, Lethal are taking their time reconnecting with this diffuser and setting up for their attack of the site below. They've only got 35 seconds to go, and it's a 3v3 in which they have very little knowledge of the floor below. Gun Havoc, though, takes down Esley from a shot above with a little bit of help from Senses' Glaz outside. Meanwhile, my man and Nade are digging in and holding on firm to a spot which doesn't have the diffuser plant covered. Nade peeking around the corner, takes down Zed just as Gun Havoc looks away. Gun Havoc flicks back to look down through the floor, but misses all the important shots and does let Nade get out alive. Dino has to move away and reposition, but he does have sight directly down onto the diffuser, and he has a Glaz outside who has another beautiful angle on it. My man's legs get appearing through the wall onto Glaz's scope, and he will again miss a lot of the important shots, but they are still delaying them from pushing this diffuser. They can't defuse while these guys are alive, and they're not getting the kills. Gun Havoc finishes off Nade, finally leaving my man alone in a 1v2. Gun Havoc will get finished off, downed rather, through the hatch. My man's going to jump out onto Senses, but can't get the shot in time, and Lethal pick up their first round.
That was a great adjustment from Lethal. They took their time with that upstairs take. They really, again, this is what I was talking about earlier. They have that passion, but they also have that fear factor. Their push onto upstairs was very, very slow. They didn't want to take any unnecessary risks, and they did put themselves in a predicament towards the end there. They made it work though. They made the adjustment that we were talking about earlier. They came outside, they simply walked through the front door because they knew there were so many roamers, even though at that point they had rotated back to the site. But they made that adjustment, they got the plan off, and they played it as safe as they possibly could, and it worked for them.
The other thing they realized is they know, or they knew after getting control of that top floor, that all the defenders, while they were downstairs somewhere, they'd pushed them all towards the workshop side of the site.
Yeah, by
so
opening
with
up
that
above.
one hole that Ash made in the floor above, she knew she had coverage of that plant spot in the door,
right,
where they went straight for in that moment. And Senses was outside, making sure the push from the other way covered. So yeah, they spent a long time attacking upstairs. They took a long time getting that done, but they already had a pre-placed, thought-out plan on what they were going to do afterwards as soon as they did it, and they executed that very flawlessly.
There's Zed's statistics on the screen for you, and obviously I think some of these statistics were actually from his previous experience on Elevate. So he is a Glaz Bandit main on Elevate at least, but
that's where he went James Bonding too, which is why his kills are so low.
Right, and he is he's not playing the same exact stuff on this team. Obviously, he's got to adjust to the circumstance of the team itself. He's going to be playing Valkyrie this time, I think. But now we're looking at 1-2. So Lethal have got themselves onto the board. This is, again, like we talked about, a very close matchup. And what are we seeing from Most Wanted? We are seeing a Montaigne, and that's really an interesting pick on Border. We've talked about this before. Not necessarily the best operator to bring to a map like this, but if you have an idea, as you said with Lethal's attack last round, if you have a plan, whether you're taking it slow or not, or whether you're bringing a Montaigne or not, you can make it work.
Well, they've done it. They've swapped out the Hibana for it too, which, as I said, we're not the worst fans of. They've got the Thermite, so when they do try and push the Montaigne through the breaches, it's a big-ass breach that he can walk through nice and cleanly. They aren't pushing from that A side where the mirror windows were going to be a big issue on them like they needed to before. So they are adjusting their entire strat to work around this Montaigne here, and they also know and do their research on the fact that Lethal don't play and aren't playing a pulse.
Yeah, there's no C4 going to be coming up from underneath. Oh,
there will be a C4 just thrown straight out of lockers instead, and Zed picks up a double kill onto Nade and Esley, taking out the Montaigne and the Thermite. Quickly afterwards, AWZ will take down my man for a third kill for the team, and they quickly start to free fall. Gurmy Wormy's looking for a trade back, but hasn't got any of it. Foxer got no trades back either, and is flashbanging himself in for a push. AWZ picks up Gurmy Wormy, making it a 1v5 here for Foxer. He doesn't have full health, but he is also a Blackbeard, so he may pull this off. Gets one onto Gun Havoc, looks quickly for the trade to come back. No one's peeking. Chalet stands on up, breaks one of the shields, gets dropped down by Foxer quickly. Switches up for the Desert Eagle, but Senses is behind him, and Lethal level it out, 2 rounds to 2.
So no C4 from underneath, but a C4 from straight on frontal coming out from Zed. I think that pretty much threw a wrench into the entire attack round there for Most Wanted.
I think just straight dismantled the entire
Exactly.
gear.
Yeah, they had no idea what they were doing after that, just started falling apart one by one. And I honestly do think that maybe bringing the Montaigne wasn't the best idea. Even if they know there's not going to be a pulse underneath, there's still C4 on the enemy team. You could chalk it up to bad luck though as well.
To be fair, with the shield damage reduction and with the way that, to be fair, Most Wanted played very static in their last. Sorry, the way Most Wanted played very slowly and static in their last stack. Expecting Zed to step up and just lob a C4 at you, probably wasn't in their wheelhouse.
If it had landed on the front end of the shield, it wouldn't have been a single kill. So, just a little bit of unluckiness on the Most Wanted side there.
But a good play by Zed, none the same. As it is, though, we're back to 2-2, and the game is really kicking up. They are starting to lead their drones in their prep positions for this opening attack. We've seen both teams now switch up their attacks to different sides of this upper floor bomb site and different directions. So we'll see where it is that Lethal tries to push this time. Their attack is once again bringing themselves the IQ, which last time, yes, we saw it when they were attacking downstairs, but we had a Blackbeard when they were attacking upstairs before who fell down to the Valkyrie camera replacement from Foxer. This is where that IQ could really get in some use.
And we actually have the IQ for the Valkyrie, or the Valkyrie for the IQ, as far as that goes this time. So she will be put to use. She's probably going to find that camera outside pretty fast. She just laying down some cover fire here, trying to look for those spawn peekers, and there aren't any right now coming out from Most Wanted. They're opting to play this safe. Again, both of these teams have a lot of pressure on their backs right now.
Gurmy Wormy has lost a bit of health already, though, so while, her pre-fire through windows didn't get a kill like Blackbeard did on a run-out earlier on, but the shots that they are laying down through some of these windows from these predictable spots is landing on some of these Most Wanted players.
And I think it's just, it's Most Wanted being a little bit aggressive, being a little, playing a little exposed, so to speak.
Like
that C4 coming out.
thrown out towards the bus.
A little, kind of a questionable decision, to be honest. You have the camera, you know there was no one there at that moment.
Or they may have lost it. Chalet at that point
I think they just got
he may have just killed it.
Yeah.
So,
because I saw Valkyrie get off the camera.
Yeah, Valkyrie got it, but she may have got it because it was killed. So
we'll see.
You lose it by that extra couple of seconds, and when you're at this level of play, those extra couple of seconds are make or break.
Yeah,
As it is, though, the attack here from Lethal is still very split. We saw those players up on tellers. We're seeing players split towards our office, but that has allowed Zed and allowed Senses and allowed AWZ to open up this wall to the A site. But this is where they got stalled out last time.
They do have a Hibana to open up that mirror again, but they don't have a Thatcher to get rid of the battery that is sitting on the wall where the mirror is placed. So if Hibana tries to open up the mirror to push in through that A wall, they are going to get chewed apart because they're just going to get destroyed by the battery.
Chalet downed that Valkyrie through the wall with the spray, but wasn't aware of it. Of course, there's no points here, but she gets a second kill on Nade, who sticks his head out through the hole she made. Gun Havoc, meanwhile, takes down Esley, and this is allowing the attackers to shape up. Chalet will fall. C4 comes out. Senses takes Foxer out before he can blow it. That could have taken out that Thermite if it had gone 1 second longer. As it is, there's only 2 defenders left up. One of them is looking for Abuzi in here. My man is holding this Hibana inside the CCTV. She's still droning, doesn't though seem to expect him here. Gets taken out, but quickly traded back by Senses. Perfect time actually by Zed, who just came back in through the wall after planting the diffuser. Means Gurmy Wormy is alone. He does use a smoke grenade to try and lock out the man on top of those tellers locations, and is now looking for the next 2. Zed pre-fires through the hole, and Gurmy steps straight into it to put Lethal in the lead for the first time in this series.
Yeah, great round from Lethal. So what you saw there was their attack was seemingly spread out. Seemed like they didn't really have an idea of what they were doing. But the player on the B windows was in fact putting himself there to get rid of the player on the mirror. So while they could not actually take care of the mirror wall with their strat, they couldn't open up the mirror, they could kill the player playing on the mirror, thus rendering it pretty much useless. So that was an excellent execution from Lethal. They obviously had a very well thought out plan, and they knew exactly where Most Wanted was going to be playing. And
to be fair, what was the difference between that round and the last time they attacked? Last time they attacked, Blackbeard was picked off and killed early on. This time, Chalet went there as IQ, survived, and he was the one that did all that damage to that mirror window and took them all out from behind.
Yeah, it was my man and the Valkyrie peeking out early to get rid of that Blackbeard that really did it for them, like you said. And I just want to touch on, I was questioning earlier the fact that Lethal was in fact moving their mirror to the right wall instead of the left wall, because seemingly it's a more exposed position to the guys playing through the A wall itself, right, to the attackers. But when you have your mirror on that right wall upstairs, you cannot be killed as easily from the B window. So it's just Lethal understand exactly what the meta is, the way that those mirrors are being placed on the wall, and they know how to get rid of it. So it's really great thought process coming out from Lethal. I really like that. As you can see, Gun Havoc's statistics on the screen, he is a Sledge mute main. So lots of explosives. Yeah, interesting that he's a mute main.
Yeah, but to this moment right now, and for a little bit today, is running the Jaeger instead. Especially while they're upstairs at the moment, as we saw before. They like to be a mobile top floor defense when they were defending this basement level, and it worked out not quite too well for them last time around, but it was close.
It was very close. I feel like strategically it went in their favor, but or actually no, that was the sorry, it was the other way around. I'm thinking of the wrong round.
Yeah, Lethal did successfully defend this floor before, but it was close. And let's see if they can lock it down any further. My man coming around the east stairs with Esley right now. Gun Havoc is inside office. He has support in here with him.
Most Wanted being pretty aggressive on this push. I mean, they're taking it slow. They're not doing anything too drastic, but they are not wasting a single second trying to get rid of these roamers. And they're coming at it from an angle that we haven't really seen before on an upstairs or on a ventilation take yet. They're coming at it through offices instead of just straight through the A wall, which is what is most teams, well, that's what most teams predictably do.
Gun Havoc does fall down. It does fall down to Gurmy Wormy, but not before he takes out my man. Zed, meanwhile, is running from the drones as they are starting to push in through the office. Into the main corridor comes Gurmy Wormy, but he was not paying attention to AWZ inside CCTV, and he pays the price for that too. So yes, a slightly different attack from Most Wanted coming this way, but they are falling down to the numerous roamers that are on this floor. One of them was Gun Havoc, he's dead, but the other three are still alive up here from Lethal, leaving just Chalet downstairs on Pulse. Esley now looking for an opportunity. They've got Ash taken down at the bottom of these metal stairs, looking for someone to rotate down to try and come towards the site that way, but Lethal are okay just staying upstairs at the moment. Nade is tagged up very heavily by AWZ through the wall and through that angle, meaning Zed's only got to tuck him up once or twice, but Fox is pushing in to try and take him down, tags him but won't finish him. Zed stays alive until Nade peeks in. Nade finishes him off, but is now the only man left alive against three, one of whom is still downstairs in the site, and the other two still running free up here. He's running all the way back towards that east balcony, a long way from everyone, but he's decided it's time to start pressuring the actual site itself. With not a lot of health and with Pulse constantly scanning for him, how far is he going to get in? And even if he does, can he even get the plant off? 7 seconds is a long time. He's on a Valkyrie camera, I believe. That was there on the corner of the light fixture, and there he is, heartbeat sensor by Chalet, and his hopes and dreams are dying right in front of our eyes. 40 seconds to go now, and those two from upstairs are going to immediately come down now and start looking for him as he moves through customs towards B. Gunshots will help them keep track of him a little bit further as well, and he's looking for a very long-winded rotate around up this way. It starts to pre-fire through the wall towards the metal stairs. Look for another in and up. Chalet on the other side of that service stack won't get shot from that front door, but he's still got his heartbeat pushing forward, sees him at the window, and there's an easy headshot to finish off the round. It's a nice valiant attempt from Nade, trying to find every little possible opening and lucky kill through wallbangs, but 1v3 with no health like that, we all saw that going that way.
So it was a little bit of an unfortunate round for Most Wanted. The way that they tried to handle that upstairs take, it just seemed like their timing was almost, you could say, unlucky. They were droning when they needed to be pushing, and they were pushing when they needed to be droning, and they weren't droning for each other. And it was just, I think, a little bit of a lack of communication, just one little error. And as such, because they didn't know that that bandit was in CCTV, for example, they lost too many players to unknowns.
As it is, they went from 2-0 up now to being on match point against them. Lethal on attack now could round out map number 1 right here and send us straight on over to our map number 2 on Oregon. But they have to make this attack work all over again, and while we saw them fail at it first round, they made it work second round, but it was still very tight. We saw Foxer peeking out the same window onto the bus, missed by millimeters. We saw the C4 thrown that way, missed by millimeters. These tiny adjustments here from Most Wanted could again put them back on the winning strike.
And as you say that, I mean, it's true. Like Most Wanted, I talked about earlier how Lethal, they understand the way Most Wanted is setting themselves up on this defense, but Most Wanted understands the way Lethal is trying to address them on attack. They are clearly peeking aggressively outside towards the bus area, towards the north, to try and get rid of that player who's going to be putting aggression onto the B window to try and get rid of the mirror operator on defense. They're trying to get rid of him early, and again, like you said, it worked one time, it didn't work the other time. So it just comes down to, I think, that early engagement outside. And that's obviously why they're bringing an IQ, so that they can get rid of the advantage that Valkyrie cameras bring.
As it is, she's coming down from up top side again. Looking and watching. Fox, I think, just threw the camera out there, actually, so it was late as well. Just check it, it's up on top of the side here, and there's a second one watching this same location, but IQ, she's just seen the one on top of the teller's box.
Yeah, that
hasn't
camera,
found this one yet.
That camera that's on top there is actually really great because IQ cannot shoot it unless she rappels all the way up to the roof or goes up the ladder. Both of those would expose her.
Well, she just went up the ladder. AWC,
and
yeah,
she
supposed to go. She does get down, but won't be finished off by the C4. Chalet managed to fall back over the edge and will be revived by Senses in a safer spot now. Foxer, meanwhile, took a little bit of damage while doing that peek because, again, they were ready for it.
Yeah.
Gun Havoc and Senses were both watching that angle. Looking to do it again. Senses misses those headshots by millimeters, but AWZ is picking off the rest of the defensive team while they're just letting all their other attention focus outside the north.
And you can see Most Wanted, they're putting too much stock in this north side engagement outside.
My man does get a kill on the C4, and Nade will finally take down Chalet, so they are evening the numbers back up to a 3v3. Zed, however, has got this wall open here at A, and Mira no longer playing on her window as they've adjusted up and sat her behind a shield instead. Foxer, lower health, but still alive, and my man over in the east staircase is looking for that stepping out of position player here. Downstairs, Gun Havoc is the man with the diffuser. Senses and Zed up by CCTV, waiting for someone, and Most Wanted to step a bit too far out here. Not happening right now. They're playing disciplined and stock. Gun Havoc going up the ladder, trying to bait that shot out from the aggressive Valkyrie, but Fox is staying in until he knows it's committed. Gun Havoc going up, Fox is still there looking for it, peeks on out, and there it is. Gun Havoc will fall and the diffuser gets lost. Senses and Zed now have to come from the other side of the map, get the diffuser or get all the kills. My man will take down Zed, but not before Senses takes a couple more shots in towards the site. Nade is behind the shield, and Senses with a great shot onto Foxer has to rotate back now towards CCTV because that's where Zed fell down to Pulse. He's trying to find a way in. He's only got 40 seconds to do it, and he still, of course, does not have the diffuser. He's got smoke grenades onto a couple of the windows, smoke grenades to try and block out Mira's position, but with each shot that he fires through that wall, he gives her more information as to where he is. Smoke comes into A. He goes underneath the wall, looks around the corner, but Nade is there ready and waiting, and Most Wanted stay alive for another round.
That was a great round from both of these two teams, and you could see clearly what the attack pattern is from Lethal, and Most Wanted are reading that. What Lethal's trying to do is establish themselves on the B window so that they can get rid of that mirror that faces the A wall, so that the rest of the players then, as soon as they have one situated on the B window, can rotate around to the A wall, open that up, and get a plant off with the mirror window player disabled or killed. And you could see that Most Wanted are conscious of that. Obviously, it's happened 3 times now, and they're playing extremely aggressive as defenders, trying to throw C4s out, throwing 2, if not 3 of their Valkyrie cams out towards the north side of the building. And they're investing so much in trying to get rid of that player that's going to come up to the B window. And we saw Lethal on their attack, as soon as they couldn't establish dominance on the B window, they lost 2 players trying to do it. They rotated around, defaulted the CCTV take, and then Gun Havoc tried to sneak his way back there, but unfortunately he wasn't aware that there were Valkyrie cameras in position to catch him off guard, and I think the attack kind of fell apart when Gun Havoc tried to go for that extra little aggression from the back end.
We've seen that now every time that Lethal try to attack that site. If they can get on top of that teller's location and fire in, they've got it.
Yeah.
But if they can, if Most Wanted can keep them off of that, they can hold. And that's all that Lethal seem to have when attacking that site. So they need to show something different if they come around to attacking it again.
Right.
But first they've got to defend this upstairs site themselves now, and they're doing so with a setup we've seen before.
Yeah. And they're going to be opening up this office wall. This is something really interesting. The way they're doing this, they're having the mirror on the wall next to these walls that you can't really see right now, but they have the mirror facing towards them. So the wall will be open, so you cannot put a thermite on there. You cannot safely put a breaching charge on there. The only real option is to either have a sledge kind of sneak up and inch his way into the corner, or have an Ash use her breaching charge rounds on that particular wall to actually, that's the only way to get in through that wall as an attacker, because you're exposed to whoever's playing on the mirror. They have a huge advantage on you. They're going to be using their Ash charges, though, underneath the A wall to try and disable that bandit.
which is what they did before, and it didn't actually work out too well for them.
Nope.
AWZ did grab one, Foxer did grab one kill from under here, but it wasn't the Bandit, and in that situation last time, Bandit managed to get both thermite charges after the fact all the same. So we'll see if they can avoid that situation again. Now, while that did happen, they then went on to win the round because Most Wanted still managed to kill everyone on Lethal after they had started their defense so well. So hopefully Lethal stay a little bit firmer this time if they get such successful battery tricks. But they got a minute 50, and it's time now for Most Wanted to start putting their thermite charges down. One little spot on that wall wasn't covered by the explosion, so pre-fire comes out from Fox to make sure Bandit's not there. Confirmed that he's not, Thermite will get his charges off there. Nade has that open. Tucked in this little bunker now. Chalet is here on smoke. We've talked about how he can delay for a long time from that position, but he's also very exposed to below from Foxer, who is still down there. Once he's been droned out, they're going to start pressuring the corner, and here it comes. Nade's going up and over. Does blow up near him, but not finish him off. Foxer's still underneath, trying to breach from below. Smoke grenades coming out aggressively from him. They know he's in there. He knows they know he's in there, and he is very much pinned. But can he delay for as long as possible? Foxer still underneath, unable to shift him out from here. Does finally tag him and down him. Won't be 100% aware of this until he crawls over the hole. Now he's sure of it. Now he finishes him off, and they have that opening. But Gun Havoc quickly takes out Gurmy Wormy in exchange. But that's a Thatcher who's already done his job, as opposed to a Smoke whose job is still to be done. 50 seconds to go though, and the defenders are still locked inside the site safely, with the attacker trying to find another opening. Spraying through the wall towards this mirror window. AWZ keeping himself pinned in. Nade sprints across the gap but gets downed, and that's the diffuser drop deep inside the site. Gun Havoc picking up that kill onto Nade. They did have Foxer repelling on the window outside, but now he's got to reposition. My man flanks from the main door and gets one. Flicks around and gets Zed as well, and may have just opened this up for his team. He doesn't have a lot of health left, but with only 2 defenders left up now, he may not need it. Elsley and Foxer still have plenty to go, and they've taken out Gun Havoc now too. Senses has gone downstairs to try and flank up from below. He doesn't get it because my man was ready for him, and Most Wanted have pulled us into overtime.
A great round from Foxay and my man. Foxay dismantling the defense from underneath with that Ash charge. My man then taking care of the other half of the defensive strat from Lethal by pushing himself up the main stairs. Foxay did not disable the small office, instead opting to go for bunker because he knew my man was going to be coming up those stairs and would be able to challenge the office window himself. Now again, we're seeing a situation where that mirror window placement in small office is easily countered by simply coming from the other direction. For Lethal, they're coming from the B window because Most Wanted is playing on the putting their mirror on the left wall. But for Most Wanted, what they're doing is they're putting they're coming from the stairs instead. It's that simple. Or sorry, Lethal is coming from the stairs instead. It's that simple.
As it is, we're resetting once again, and Lethal are back to defending this upper floor as we kick off overtime. Of course, everything opened up and unlocked now. AWZ was held off it and couldn't battery trick that wall like he did previously so well, so that allowed them to get open and help the Most Wanted attack. But the pivotal moment, as you say, came from that flank up the central staircase, and that is not an easy push to make with barbed wire there and plenty of players alive. So Lethal have got to be confident, right? So, okay, that didn't go so well, but we know exactly why. All it takes now is one person to watch the top of that staircase, and we would have held that.
And a lot of it comes down to, honestly, a really good gunplay from my man, because he did get flanked at one point there, and twice actually, yes, he got flanked. Well, I guess at the same time he was kind of
he peeked in and killed the guy inside small office. Then Zed came up the stairs and got him too, and then senses it's not
he ended the round. He was kind of watching that, but it doesn't matter. My man really just some excellent gunplay kind of locked that round out for the team.
As it is, Most Wanted attacking through CCTV this time slowly to start with. My man keyful and looking in towards the office door, trying to see if there's anyone aggressively peeking around that way, but there's not. As it is, they are once again just opening and getting themselves that safe position, which they have gotten used to now. They know where Lethal's setup is for this defense. They know where to expect the pushes from, and they are prepping themselves ready for it so that they can put all of their focus into breaking their way into the site. Because yes, they won the last round, but they know Lethal's hold is still very, very strong, and the less distractions they can have when pressuring that, the better.
Right.
Boxer is actually in a completely different bottom floor location for the moment at the start of the round. He is being droned to come back towards where they need him, but it's an interesting amount of time they used up on that.
It's looking like maybe he was a little bit worried about roamers. He was just trying to secure his entire bottom floor. There are no roamers currently trying to contest him, so he will be conscious of that now that his team's droned it out. Ooh, this is dangerous.
They did get that first. No, they didn't. First thermo charge still goes off, and AWZ will fall. So that was Lethal's plan. It's all right. We've got to stop that thermo charge at all costs. That cost was Bandit's life, and they didn't stop the charge, so this could be very tough for them. Gun Havoc has just taken a bunch of damage there too as he tried to peek out and trade a kill. They did have Chalet tucked in that bunker corner as well on smoke, but he had to fall back straight away as Esley peeks in as Blackbeard to finish Gun Havoc off. This is looking like a great attack here from Most Wanted. Foxer has rotated around to the open office trapdoor because he knows that's where Senses dropped down to rotate from last time around and the round before, with it or without success, but he's going to be there to catch him straight away now.
And there is nobody playing in the small office right now to even contest this A-wall push-in, and the attackers have everything in their advantage.
Fox has actually moved up aggressively now. Gurmy Wormy takes down Chalet as he tries to stop the defense, and a second one onto Senses as he tries to come across the site. Zed is now the one that went downstairs, comes straight up into Maman, and Most Wanted have Lethal figured.
That's the same exact attack we saw from Most Wanted last round, and it works for them twice in a row. Maman, again, with some excellent play on these stairs, but he didn't even have to get rid of the player in small office this time because there was none.
So it is that attack down to a T now. They know Lethal's defense, they know what they're going to do with it, figured it out. It's a guaranteed win. And as a result, despite starting 2-0 and then dropping 4 rounds in a row, they've turned this around to overtime and now put themselves on match or map point.
You have to wonder from Lethal, if they can win this attack round, will they choose to bring it to ventilation instead of trying to force out that armory hold, because it's just not working for them anymore. And also on this attack, are they going to try and contest from the north, outside? Are they going to try and contest onto that B window the same way they have been? Because it's worked for them once, it's not worked for them twice. Most Wanted have figured out the way that Lethal is defending upstairs and attacking upstairs. They have a grip on every one of their strategies, and unfortunately Lethal just are incapable of mixing it up right this second.
Well, this is the time to show us that that's not the case, and if
they
can mix it up, but their operators are the same.
Yeah, they are bringing an IQ.
So far, looking similar.
Likely going to be 2 Valkyrie cams outside, but last time they didn't find both of those Valkyrie cams, and even one of the Valkyrie cams would not have been able to been shoot. So it was beautiful, actually. One of their Valkyrie cams outside on the north side, you can't really shoot it unless you get yourself onto the roof or you get yourself onto the platform or the balcony outside B window itself. And that's a lot of time to get onto the roof, and even more time, or too much exposure to get onto the platform.
And Esley kicks it off with an aggressive peek at the east staircase to take down that Hibana right out the gate and put Most Wanted 1 man up. Senses, meanwhile, taken down by Foxer with an even more aggressive jump out because that camera wasn't killed off fast enough, and Senses wasn't expecting a peek. He was expecting to wait until they came up the ladder. He was expecting that same play, but this time Foxer went, no, I'm going to surprise you by coming out earlier, and it worked out beautifully. Chalet is still underneath the tellers now looking for that camera. He's going to catch it in just a second, but obviously Foxer won't have seen him. Here's that break now. He heard that get shot, but he's got one other camera hidden away somewhere outside. He's looking at the top of the ladder no matter what. Zed finally gets one back for Lethal, taking down my man's Pulse from elsewhere. Gun Havoc's a little bit low, but still alive. Gurmy Wormy, Esley, and Nade still dug in deep now within the site. Lethal have it all to play for. Foxer trying to time his C4 randomly, but it won't touch anyone, and Lethal are changing their attack up now to the other side of the map. They realize that north balcony is not going to happen. They realize that angle's not there, and they're trying to come in through the A wall. But locking them in here is going to be an easy task here for Most Wanted, who still have smoke alive. Foxer rotates around to being behind the shield. Yes, the wall is open. Does pre-fire it, but there's no one there. Zed is tucked in on the other side of that thermited wall. His drone goes the other way. We've seen how Foxer likes to be aggressive right now. He's not scared to peek on outside. If he goes the right way, he will find Zed with his tail between his legs. Zed's off his drone. Who's going to win this fight as the peak inevitably comes on around? Chalet repelling has got an angle in and is looking towards the box in the mirror window. Here comes Zed coming out. He goes for the flashbang. Foxer misses the shots, but then exposes himself to Chalet and will throw his life away, putting us back into a 3v3. Minute and 10 on the clock, and this is no longer looking so painful for Lethal. Gurmy Wormy, though, changes his mind with that one, takes out Gun Havoc after smoking off the A door so he can switch his attention back, and will continue to smoke that side. He and Nade now have a mirror window and smoke charges to hold this off, and Zed gets down to make matters worse here for Lethal. Chalet repels in, and Zed's going to try and crawl back into a spot where he may be revivable, but that's precious seconds gone, and Nade will say, nope, I'm going to finish you off regardless. So it's Chalet against 3 now. C4's coming up from underneath. He's looking at drones and now realizes there's a camera here on the fan. 35 seconds to go, and Most Wanted are playing this smart. They're not hunting him. They're not pushing for him, despite him being on the camera. They know they've got to come. He's got to come to them. They've got the diffuser pinned. He's only got 25 seconds to go, and he's going to use some of that droning. The drone won't get very far as Gurmy and Nade will spot it quickly. does, of course, find out where they are, but they don't care about that. They're close enough that they can trade, and they're ready for this no matter what. Nade's going to come into the shield. Does take Romy out beautifully. He's going to know the next one's behind the window. He's going to pre-fire it. Nade staying in. Nade does get the kill, though, and that is that, as Most Wanted take map 1.
That was a fantastic defense round from Most Wanted. What they did is they peeked out the south side because they knew Lethal was going to be pressuring on the north side and expecting those peaks on the north side, but they were not thinking about any aggression outside from any other area on the map because it's been a constant battle on the north side. And they got the free pick onto Hibana. That already, right off the bat, limits the options on attack for Lethal, taking a lot of breaching potential off the board. And then that quick succession peek from Valkyrie onto the glass kind of locked out that round for me, I feel.
Yeah, as soon as that glass fell down, already less than ideal start, just spiraled out of control. And while Lethal almost pulled it back, getting that 3v6 situation there on the go, after that point, they just kind of scrambled again, and the aggression didn't let up from Most Wanted.
We saw a very consistent trend with Lethal's attacks and their defense, but on the note of this particular attack, on their armory attack, every single time they could not get somebody onto that balcony on the B window, they were unsuccessful on their armory attack. And I feel like that's what sort of calls for a mix-up on that strategy, because obviously Most Wanted, they understand what your plan is here, and they're playing directly to counter it. There were some great fundamentals and some great strategies from Lethal, stuff we've never seen before, but unfortunately they were unable to mix it up in the middle of the match.
And now we're looking at our second map, which is a map which, while there are new strategies being brought out by teams, a lot of them have been shown and exposed many a time, and it does come down to changing yourself on the fly based on what your opponents have done and are doing to you. And Most Wanted have just shown that they can do that.
Yeah.
Lethal didn't really show us that on Border. Can they do it any better on Oregon?
Lethal didn't show us an adaptation, but they did show us innovation. Yes. That what they were doing on the north window and the north balcony, while it didn't necessarily work for them, is something, it's a new idea, it's fresh, you know? I'm sure there are other teams that are doing something similar to that, but from what we've seen in Pro League so far, that was brand new. And now we're going to be going into Oregon, which is similar to Border in a way, not necessarily in the way that Border has stuff that can, as of yet, hasn't been figured out. Like, there's still tons of stuff that you can do on Border that, you know, just hasn't been touched yet, and that's what we saw in the matchup earlier. But Oregon is more of an old-style map. There's no really one way that is the correct way to play Oregon. There's not a definitive, you know what I mean? Like, you can play heavy roamer on the basement, you can play heavy anchor on the basement. Either way could work, and it's an ever-changing, you know, swirl, kind of chaotic map, really, I guess is the best way to put it. It's a very chaotic map because you can do anything on this map and make it work.
And well, we've seen Lethal like a 4-player upstairs defense on Border. It's something that can be done and has been done here too. So we'll see what they have up their sleeve. As it is though, they're attacking first, and they're bringing a very different set of operators to what they used on Border. Bringing Thatcher into the mix, Sledge into the mix, Blackbeard, Hibana of course, and Capitao back on the roster.
No Glaz and no Thermite. The lack of a Thermite here is, you know, it kind of makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're not going to be attacking through construction onto a basement, you don't need a Thermite. You can get all of the drops with your Hibana alone. It's just not necessary. There's no Montaigne, so it's looking like it's going to be a lobby take. I mean, the Capitao.
We've got Echo and Smoke, and those two operators, as we talked about before, do similar jobs and can both hold areas for quite a while. And we've really seen teams. Yes, it looked it. We've seen teams put both operators in the basement and then run the other 3 roaming. But you've also still got a Rook who's not great at that. You've got a Mirror who likes to stay static and has an opened window now down below. So if they were to run anyone upstairs, it's only Bandit that can do it. And right now, this Most Wanted setup looks to be one that's going to sit in the basement and not move a lot. And this map has been played in the basement attack so much that sitting in the basement not moving, especially against Capitao,
it's difficult.
Doesn't end well.
Yeah, and the Capitao is a very specific counter pick. The reason you're bringing that Capitao is for those firebolts to be able to use on the mirror in the closet is one of the best ways to counter that mirror in the closet, because if you just shoot a firebolt in the hole next to the mirror, the player in there is either dead or cannot do anything for a period of time. And it's weird because Most Wanted, oh, my man, in a tricky situation.
Rook. They don't know he's up here yet. They open the wall.
They're going to drone him.
There's the drone coming out from Chalet, but Blackbeard's already gone in. He's looking the wrong way. The shots come out. He peeks on around. Chalet does get the warning he needed, but Havoc is downed. Chalet trying to pre-fire into him now, and he'll actually fall down as well. My man picks up 2 big plays by him.
Man.
Taking down not only the Blackbeard, but also the sledge up here in the attic, and then manages to hold his position. He's waiting now for the next man to come up. It's AWZ. He's already done his job as the Hibana and opened up the hatches. He's going to flashbang on in. Lands right next to my man now, who's completely white. That gives him a chance to drone. My man's going to try and pre-fire blind. Won't land anything, of course, because AWZ is still hidden. More flashbangs coming in. More pre-fire coming out from my man. AWZ now push on forward. Misses a lot of the shots, but lands the important ones. My man does finally fall. But that's a lot of time and a lot of utility used here by AWZ.
Not just utility, but players as well. I mean, Blackbeard off the board, that's huge. Sledge off the board, that's a lack of 2 grenades. That's so much missing for the attack here, and they only have a minute to go. They've only just now established dominance on Meeting Hall. Some extreme cheese coming out from a man, working really well for Most Wanted.
So, as the attack starts to look at the lobby now, Senses has a hole through from the classroom to look in towards the laundry closet. He's being tagged up through the hole, though, by Foxer. A couple of nice shots landing onto that. Capital's going to scare him down a little bit. The mirror window wasn't opened. It was just a weird
bug or something.
Spectate glitch on that location. But the firebolt will miss here. Senses actually doesn't get it through the hole. He's going to smoke through the hole instead. But with smoke charges coming out from Gurmy Wormy, that's not going to matter. He does keep the diffuser up and away now, as Zed cannot come all the way down for a little bit longer. 27 seconds to go, and he's still got 2 smoke charges left. If he keeps throwing these out, they won't be able to plant. So, that Capital Firebolt, disastrous mistake not landing. Zed back in the plant spot. Gurmy Wormy with another charge in hand. Don't realize that they've got into the plant spot. Doesn't matter, they've got Echo to do the job instead. Cancels the plant. They're looking for it now. The Thatcher grenades are going to come out, but it doesn't matter. The smokes are going through. Senses drops. Zed's going to die to the smoke grenade. Gurmy Wormy gets 2 as he also picks off Senses. AWZ is the last man left standing at the bottom of the stairs, and the timer will hit 0. Most Wanted playing an old school 5-man or 4-man downstairs static defense. Pull it off.
Yeah, that cheese from a man hiding in that corner of attic really put them in a good position to win the round, but it was still salvageable from Lethal. They could have brought that back. However, missing that Capital Firebolt, unfortunately, I feel like that really was their downfall. If they had been able to, that was their last chance to actually salvage that round, was hitting that Firebolt and allowing them, or allowing that plant to come down. And to be honest, the Echo at the end there was just cream on top. I mean, there really didn't, it was almost unnecessary after that Firebolt miss.
Now, as it is, Most Wanted now back onto attack to go up against a similar line of operators, but a very different bomb site. Yeah,
Lethal's going to be defending upstairs first instead of basement. And this is, I mean, it's pretty much a mixed bag of what teams prefer to play. Either of the bomb sites work really, they're equally viable. It looks like we are going to be seeing a mirror, probably I'm guessing a double mirror on these 2 walls, and looking into Master. This is leading, it's probably expecting a Master/Armory take from based upon just these mirrors. This is going to give them a lot of, well, ability to hold Master, pretty much. But if they get pressured from the attic, which we've seen teams do on attack, if they get pressured from the attic, they open up both of those attic walls moving into the hallway, then those mirrors will both be rendered useless.
But by doing that, they then won't be able to get into the closet because they've only brought Hibana, no Thermite, so...
Yeah, there's no Thermite, so yeah, I mean...
Then you just have to hold the corridor, so yeah, you lose the mirrors, but you're only holding a doorway, not too bad.
Based on the fact that we're seeing a Hibana and no Thermite, I'm guessing we're not going to see an Armory take from this team. They are setting themselves up in a way that would maybe suggest an Armory take, but it just it doesn't make sense. Fox A is playing on the big window, looks like outside the sites right now. They're conscious of the fact that there is a Valkyrie playing in the tower, although they're not sure where.
They do have a drone running around, but man did find Zed's Valkyrie. The drone spotted him out. He had his nade ready, blew him straight up inside those boxes, blew him up. I think it landed directly on his head, in fact. They are now cautious of the rest of the tower, but they are now clean that it's open. They have jumped in upstairs, they did drone it around, and now they are coming across the attic.
So they're going to be coming into the attic, again, rendering, it may not seem like a big deal rendering 2 mirrors useless, but they are a lot of utility.
They still may not go through that reinforcement at the far end of it, but
once
they know the attic is clear, they can now repel on the windows, which is Blackbeard, which is where they're going. So yeah, they've opened it up, the mirror windows are still useful, but the entire attack is just not near Master Bedroom.
Yeah, there's no, like, they're not doing anything.
Okay, they're intact, but they're pointless.
Exactly.
So, Zed falling from that big tower, the attic being cleared out means they know they have control over this now, and they force Chalet out of the kid's bedroom, which exposes him to Foxer here on the A window. AWZ now behind the A bomb, is cautious of the corridor, does peek out aggressively and get Foxer, now heads across, does get picked off by the repelling player, but Nade quickly helps him out with a team kill onto my man. Does, however, get the diffuser after getting that kill and then drops down. But Gurmy Wormy picked off by a good flank from Gun Havoc, who rotated around to that big tower. LZ takes senses out though as he tries to fire through the connector. Gun Havoc in the big tower, has to rotate back, but Gurmy's Claymore gets revenge. Avenges his own death with the Claymore.
And Most Wanted, they certainly had Lethal's number on that particular round. They knew exactly what was going to be happening. Claymore obviously being an indicament, or obviously they knew where the Jaeger was going to be coming from tower. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But we see their attack. They were establishing themselves on the windows. They were taking control of attic, and that's an attack that we first saw, I think, from Sisu back in Season 2. It's a pretty old one, but it works. You pinch yourself, or you pinch the defenders and force them out of their positions, and there's not much they can do on that retake. I mean, how are you going to get yourself back into big bedroom? You're going to run through the hallway where we have someone on big window ready for that.
Now, the shots from the bandit hidden behind the bomb did help relieve that pressure, but it's a risky, aggressive play, so she lost her life to the rest of the fight because of it. And there is the trade. As it is, though, Most Wanted up 2-0 now, but this is how we saw the start of Border play out, and then it started to spiral against them, but then they adapted and learned back the other way, so we'll see how it plays. Their defense of this top floor at the moment is looking very, very familiar to their basement. Static, castle, rook, locking themselves into small spaces. Yeah, and
we'll see if it works out for them. I mean, it is very easy to defend upstairs from just anchoring, but as we saw from Lethal, I mean, it didn't work out for Lethal. It in fact worked very much in Most Wanted's favor. And if Lethal has a similar strategy, I mean, who knows? I think the problem with Lethal's defense on that last round was actually, I think it came down to the fact that they weren't playing static enough. They were trying to trade themselves back and trying to establish dominance on the other team when they just couldn't make it work. They couldn't get the man advantage.
That rook impact grenade blew up the cabinet that was on that bunk bed. So they have a very against the wall position to play here inside A now, should they wish it.
Sometimes when you're peeking into an aggressive angle like that, as an attacker or even a defender, you know the map layout so well that you don't expect something like that shelf to be gone. And when it is gone, they can hide a little bit safer around the corner.
Go up, Gun Havoc picks off Elsley, who I'm not sure realized that window was open or just was exposed to it, because he was focused on Zed repelling a master bedroom, and it's a free kill with that bandit falling down. Smoke though, Gomirumi still hiding here behind the A bomb. It's a little bit low on health, but nothing serious. We'll still be able to hold that Blackbeard outside the A window for a while. My man, meanwhile, hiding inside the attic, has the wall fully reinforced behind him and some firebolts on the other side of it as the Havana charge goes off. Opens it up, but exposes himself to Chalet as he sprints across the attic to try and get back to safety. And this is a good start here from the attacking Lethal side. They've taken no serious damage at all yet, picked up 3 kills. 4 kills now as Gurmy Wormy finally falls. Yes, the Valkyrie's only down, but they know it. Senses is finally low, Chalet is finally low as well, but they're both still alive, and Nade has to kill 5 players right here. They know that Valkyrie is down, and they have Chalet droning, keeping Nade's positions fed across the entire way. Zed's looking for one opening. He does dart through the gap, and they're going to call out that he's in Generator right now. He gets a good kill in towards AWZ in the attic. That's going to get Valkyrie back on their feet. So they are 2v4 now. As he peeks on out to try and get out to safety, he breaks Blackbeard's shield at the expense of some health. Valkyrie going to jump on outside to get back in and rotate to a different angle. No, he's not. He's, never mind, bugged inside the roof. So we'll see what our admins say about that, but Foxer has managed to get himself up there. Meanwhile, Chalet is going for a plant. Nade is trying to do what he can to stop this, but there's nothing really there for him. Zed pushing up the back staircase, and they are keeping him pinned from inside. Zed does come up the back stairs, finish Nade off, and while Foxer is technically alive,
even if he could get kills from up there.
I mean, he can get kills,
yeah,
but he's doing
but
the right thing by not.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair.
Yeah. He realizes that
he's not going to win the round, so it doesn't really matter.
But, the reloads go through.
Yeah.
We'll hear what the admins have to say. We'll see what they choose to go with it. But yeah, he accidentally got himself up on that roof.
So it was an interesting round, nonetheless, despite the Valkyrie teleporting into the ceiling. It was an interesting round. What we saw there from from the Lethal attack was the same thing we saw from the Most Wanted attack the last round. They opened up the big window, they opened up the attic, and in this case, they were able to establish a nice crossfire from the attic and the big window into the hallway that actually picked off, I think, 3 players. So that was working really well towards for Lethal's advantage on that attack. But Most Wanted had the same problem that Lethal had, in that they were defending upstairs and they weren't being static enough. They were trying to establish dominance on the attackers by peeking out, by moving around a lot. And what we saw from the ominous CTM matchup on that same exact attack and that same exact defense is that the static play in that upstairs defense, when they're trying to come from the windows outside and they're trying to come from the attic, the static play is what actually works better. And just trying to stay alive as long as possible, not putting yourself in those crossfires that these attackers are establishing. So we'll see if these teams adjust and try to go for the more conservative play on the upstairs defense in the future.
Yeah, as far as that attack went, as you say, yes, there was a lot of mobility from Lethal, which is why they were getting picked off from the attack. But the attack was so perfectly executed. They had those 5 alive. It was Rook and Valkyrie. Yes, they're up, but they were both pinned inside that little generator room, had nowhere to go. With a Blackbeard watching one angle, with Zed coming up the back staircase, with the planter still Chalet inside the kid's bedroom with the bomb itself, getting that defuse down, or it was not really going to happen.
No. And I think, honestly, though, what I'm trying to say is the way that the attackers are establishing themselves, yes, you can't move. You're stuck where you are. You're stuck in generator. You're stuck in big bedroom. You're stuck. But you're a defender. It's fine to be stuck. As long as, if you're stuck in the site, even more so, it's fine to be stuck in the site. As long as you can deny that plant as long as possible, then you're in a good position. And the problem that these teams are both facing is that they're feeling stuck, they're feeling trapped, the pressure's on them, and they have to make a play, they have to get a kill, they have to get themselves out of that position, out of the pressure, and it's allowing the attackers to so easily pick them off.
Yeah, they going for these aggressive peaks to level it back out, but into guns that are waiting for them, into opportunities that are there. Or as you saw, up in the attic, we saw players, we saw a castle hiding in there, we saw my man hiding in there. They do Hibana one prone hole out.
There.
He could have stayed tucked in that corner after the prone hole and waited for them to come through and shot them. Instead, he went, it's blowing, and didn't even try and run away the second it started. He waited till it blew up, then ran. And so even if Chalet hadn't got him from the window, he was exposed to the hole as well. Like, the timing on that whole sprint when, and it just, all it was running away, turning his back on a gun, which he's never going to trade that. Like, I don't know. It was just a lot of running in fear and no actual fighting.
Yeah, I think it really just comes down to both of these teams. They have insurmountable pressure on their shoulders right now. It's just all, you know, leading down on them, and they really are not sure what to do immediately because they have so many extra thoughts going on in their head. Is, oh, what if I die here? If I die here, then my team's at a 4v5. Oh no, I can't die. And then you get all these different things that you have to take into account. And it slows you down. It slows down your thought process, and it makes you do things that you know you don't need to do, like peeking out aggressively onto a Blackbeard holding on the big window looking into the hallway, like moving from that particular corner in the attic when you could just stay there, maybe try and trade it out for Hibana. And the reason he ran away was because he knew, oh, it's Hibana. She's got flashbangs. She's going to flash me. There's nothing I can do about that. There's no way to dodge those flashbangs and still not be exposed to the capital on the roof. But he could have, like you said, made that decision earlier. And it's just, again, it's just pressure, I think. It's just slowing down their decision-making.
The other thing to note here is the attack coming in against them there. While we saw on border, we took a couple of rounds for Most Wanted to figure out where Lethal were and how they're playing, and they lost a couple because of it. But then they figured out, and then they answered and played through and played strong. Most Wanted have Lethal figured very early on here. Well, these attacks are coming up very quickly, which is, as you say, only stacking up the pressure and forcing Lethal to make these decisions quickly on the fly again. And as we saw from last round, they're on the fly decision making and their round by round changes. They aren't really there. They've got these thought out strategies and they've practiced these strategies and they're working on them, but they don't have what it takes right now, or they haven't shown us what it takes right now to check and tweak these little bits in the middle of each game to help them step up and win these rounds and close them out.
And again, I think the Lethal does have the potential to do that. They do have the potential to make those adjustments. I've seen it from them before. I think, again, it's that pressure that's just, it's gnawing away at them, and I think it's slowing them down quite a lot. But you know, both of these teams have been playing pretty similar defense, pretty similar attack on the upstairs. We haven't seen Lethal defend downstairs, so we're not really sure how they're going to handle it. But for the most part, upstairs, they've been doing the same thing, pretty much. A little bit of differences, but overall it's the same. And I think that Most Wanted, they understand the way Lethal's defending because they're doing it in a similar way, and I think they're just playing around that better. I think Lethal's just, again, succumbing to pressure. They are the ones who, if they lose this map, they're out of the Pro League. It's done for them. So, that's a lot to take into account.
Yeah. As for a quick update on our situation, the admins are talking to the teams and reviewing that last round as well. Yes, that was a game-breaking bug on the downside of the defensive team.
It was...
They were, at that point, Valkyrie 1 versus 4.
It was 2 versus 4
when Rook was still alive, but the diffuser was down, the timer was something, they were pinned in a position. Now, what the admin call is on that, we'll have to wait and see, but that is why we're currently holding off and waiting for an answer on this one. As the game loads back in when they're ready, we'll see exactly what it is. So, as they are all agreeing that they're ready up and good to go, we will look and see what that may be, and continue from that point. So, as it shapes up and as it loads on through, we're going to look to fully restart that round and leave it as a 2-0 scoreline in favor of Most Wanted. So, the full reset, while normally you'd look to a team and say, all right, it sucks it's a full reset, you've shown your hand, you've both shown your hand, but you can go back in and try something a bit different. You're of course not obligated to take the same site, this and the other. But what painful here is Lethal haven't shown us the ability to do that even in a normal setup yet. And now with having to replay that round, we're going to need to see something new out of them.
And the thing is I don't think we're going to, because both of these teams, again, I talked about it earlier, both these teams are defending upstairs the same way, almost. Not entirely, but their baseline setup is the same, and the attack from both of these teams is almost identical. It's pretty much, you take control of Attic, put yourself on the B windows, repel in through the B windows with control of Attic, and that's it. That you plan in B. And, or is it A? Plan in the big bedroom. And so I don't think there's a lot for either of these teams to adjust and read on, because they're just kind of stuck in their ways. They're both doing the same thing. So now that they understand that, maybe it's going to give Lethal the ability to adjust. But again, like you said, they're not really displaying that adjustment. But, I mean, who knows?
Given them the opportunity, they've got all the tools, but they had that all through border, and they had the opportunity, but didn't show it.
And we're coming back to the fact that I think it's pressure, but I think it just has to do with pressure.
Yep,
this is a really good team. They have a lot of potential. It's just they're having trouble right now.
Well, as I said, this is technically a new roster for them, right?
Yeah, because they
just brought Zed in here. So yeah, they've shown that they have a good foundation. The trick, and this is what a lot of new teams in every game ever falls down to, is trying to rotate players as their problem solver too much, rather than sticking with a solid 5 and working through issues and training with that 5. Now, if they can stick to this 5, there is a lot of potential in this 5.
Oftentimes, it comes down to, even if you can replace one of your players on your 5 with a better player, they say he's just more skilled. Oftentimes, that's not the right call, because the team you have right now, say it's winning, it's successful. The team you have right now is successful because you have synergy, because you trust each other. And if you replace one of those players with maybe he's better, maybe slightly marginally a more skilled individual, he may not be as good on your team, because he won't have the same synergy and he won't have the same communication with you, and it's just going to throw everything off course. So it could be not pressure for Lethal, but just the fact that they have very recently rotated a player, and that's because that is so much to adjust to.
These on-the-fly changes, these on-the-fly round-by-round decisions you have to do to adjust your play rely a lot in trust and coordination, and just knowing your teammates. And if they don't have that because there's new players, they don't have that. But we are back in, and we are watching this round unfold again. Most Wanted up in that same bomb site upstairs, and Lethal on a very similar start to their attack. We
did see on Elevate, the team that Zed was on previously, when they got to bring their more known player back to the roster, their synergy went up and their play got better, and they performed better because of it. So it could come down to that. But now, again, Lethal on attack upstairs, they have to show something fantastic here. They have to be able to execute the same exact attack in all likeliness, but more efficiently.
So what they've done so far is actually slightly slow it down a little bit, which I like. They went very, very quickly early in before, and while they picked Most Wanted off, not going to make the same mistakes twice. So Most Wanted staying very static and defensive this time, and actually leaving Esley downstairs in the kitchen. While Lethal have set up Claymores, and they have set up a couple of ways to watch him peeking out and doing anything from this position, they haven't really done anything to force him out of it.
Yeah, and obviously Lethal, they are conscious of the fact that Esley is here, and I'm sure they'll be ready for the run out. Gurmy Wormy with a nice pick onto Gun Havoc, though.
Yeah, it takes the Blackbeard away, and as we talked about, the B push, the B window repels, that is a big part of that, is that Blackbeard, or ultimately holding the A window as the flank, and either one of those positions without a Blackbeard on it, it's just become ultimately weaker.
Sensis is going to take up the position, but he does not have a shield in front of his face, and he could easily die to this SMG-11 Gurmy Wormy on the A-bomb.
Instead, though, he could, if he gets away with it, firebolt behind that A-bomb and still keep players pinned in that location in a similar fashion, but it's the time limit thing.
Right.
As it is, though, he does straight up just shoot Gurmy Wormy in the face to get the job done, so they are back to a 4v4. Minute 15 on the clock, and here comes the pressure from Lethal. Sensis holding this angle, just about misses my man's face as that castle teases the idea. Nade does literally get naded from outside here by Chalet. The Valkyrie camera doesn't quite get killed off, but he knows where it is. And AWZ is trying to hold across it from the attic. Chalet finishes my man off, and Zed gets Esley downstairs taken away. So Nade being down means it's just Foxer now left alone. More nades coming up and over, and he's trying to make some holes through the floor to the windows, ready for the rappel in. But when they hear this, when they realize this, they're going to come for him. Zed is currently in dining, looking for him, trying to find that opening. Nade, while he's down, they may not know this, of course, no points in here. Foxer peeks his head around the corner, and Zed's going to push for it, but Foxer gets the final blow and gets the kill. Foxer getting sprayed in through the kitchen wall now, 26 seconds to go. He is once again being pressured to AWZ. Anywhere else that this door was killed off a while ago. AWZ looking down, Chalet has finally killed off Nade, so now they know they're in there to plant, and Foxer's not underneath the windows to stop the rappel. Inside comes AWZ. Foxer knows he's got him pinned in the corner. He's got to win these fights. The C4's going to go up. It doesn't actually get the kill. AWZ has run away and goes around towards dining. The plant's still not gone through, but will now be underway, and there's nothing Foxer can do about it. He has 35 seconds to kill 3 players and defuse. He's going the long way around and up the front staircase. He's got AWZ chasing him from below. This camera will have told him that this direct corridor is clear, but Sensis is over by A, and we'll have a sight line down in this direction momentarily, and that's all he needs. Fox's head is removed from his shoulders, and Lethal get around.
Yes, for the first round on the board for Lethal, a pretty systematic take, not much variation from what we expected to see, and it worked out for them beautifully. Most Wanted dialing back the spontaneity and the, the absolute changing it up on the fly, and I feel like that's to their detriment. They are a team that some of the reasons they've been winning a lot of these rounds is because they just peek out at weird times, at weird angles, in odd situations. Like on that last round on Border, they peeked out the south side of the building when Lethal was expecting everything to be coming from the north, and they got a free Hibana kill because of it. Now, Most Wanted has had good success for this this map so far, but again, the first round they won on defense, it could be easily attributed to the fact that there was a rook hiding in the attic. I mean, who expects that, right? He got those 2 kills. He put them in an advantage early on. So Most Wanted, they have 2 rounds on the board right now. They're up, but a lot of it comes down to crazy flanks, crazy unpredictable things.
As it is, they are back onto attack, and Lethal are on defense now for their setup. They are down inside the basement. They chose to go top floor first with their first round of defense, remember?
It's going to be a roaming.
This is the first time we've seen them down here, but looking at all these reinforcements in meeting room, they're going to be playing a very mobile setup upstairs.
They're going to be reinforcing the wall into the kitchen, which means that they're likely not going to be coming to the west side of the building very much, but all the same, a heavy roaming strategy. Oh, Zed actually playing in the kitchen. Interesting. Probably going to be for a camera.
One of the two. Yeah. We'll see how long it takes. He's going to open up this back door and throw out a camera and then make his way back towards the site. I don't know if it was just me hearing things, but it sounded like that camera straight blew up. Actually,
it was probably
too far onto the skybox.
I think if you do throw it over the fence, it does get destroyed. So
it counts as a skybox, so it doesn't go out into the farm area and just destroyed. So
it used to drop, but they fixed that.
Anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll see. The drones coming into meeting room now are going to find the players that are in there and feed that information back. Zed is on his way back towards this area, but the front door is open.
Yeah, and it looks like Most Wanted are conscious of the fact there's a heavy roamer setup coming out from Lethal here, and they're going to try and do a contained lobby take and open up that drop down and try to work around. Well, this Valkyrie's in an aggressive position to take out Foxe here.
Yeah, but she's been droned out. Does choose to move it away as the camera was also shot seconds before he peeked on out. He is being chased by a whole bunch of drones now and pins himself inside the toilet. But if he can hold in here for long enough, he will waste plenty of time. It is bringing Ash back out of the classroom and forcing him to try and find or deal with the Valkyrie in some way. So the time is being burnt down.
The Valkyrie does have a C4, so she can get herself out of this corner if she so chooses. Looks like that's what she's going to be doing.
Intro goes over, we'll give her way into the kitchen. He's cautious of more drones, cautious of the man who was spraying across that doorway a moment ago. But will be able to get herself out of there in a couple of seconds' time if she feels the need. She also has 2 options now, which means there's somewhere else that Most Wanted have to pressure if they want to shut him down. Senses, though, still inside that meeting hall, holding a tight angle in and across the front of the lobby, means Most Wanted are losing a lot of time here and not doing a whole lot with it.
Only a third of the round is left on the board here, and they really have not pushed very much at all. And Zed with a beautiful peek onto Maman.
Yep, takes Maman down. Foxer now is going to try and pressure him alone. He sprints around the corner, and Zed's ready for that one as well. Esley has traded Senses out, but then they will finally send Gurmi Wormy to deal with Zed. It is 3v3 with a minute still to go, though. So all that work that Lethal did on delaying the attack needs to be held by their anchors. Lethal still have AWZ upstairs, and Gun Havoc is actually knocked down in their basement at the moment, but they are keeping this busy. Blackbeard comes around one corner, Bandit peeks back and takes a shield out, but takes a lot of damage himself, but Gun Havoc helps it out by peeking down the staircase and taking down the Blackbeard from behind. Gurmi Wormy and Nade now having to deal with this from different angles. Gun Havoc and above. AWZ inside meeting hall. Gurmi comes around one way, does take down AWZ, but with 30 seconds to go, this is still taking them a long time, and they have a smoke to deal with downstairs. Upstairs, Gun Havoc is being sprayed out by Nade, who is now coming down the front staircase. Chalet inside the mirror window gets an easy shot to Nade as he comes down that bottom staircase. Gurmi Wormy alone versus 2. Gun Havoc's are flanked all the way around to below. Chalet is inside. Another smoke grenade comes out too far, but he sprays with his bullets to finish Gurmi off, and Lethal bring us back to a 2-2 scoreline.
A great defense from Lethal, and an interesting attack from Most Wanted. We were talking about how Lethal has been having trouble with their adjustments, but Most Wanted, obviously, in that instance, were the ones having the adjustment trouble, because they saw that there were as many roamers as there were. They were, I think, 4 at one point, and they were unable to adjust their attack to compensate for it. I think it would have been maybe sensible to go for a construction push instead, because then you only have to deal with the one guy. But they chose to push in through lobby and challenge the roamers head-on. Honestly, a brave decision. It just didn't work out for them. They came into the lobby and they fell into the defensive operator's trap, with the roamers coming from above and the sides. And then in the end, we saw with the linchpin, the mirror in that closet, there's not much you can do. Even if it were a 1 versus 3 in the favor of the attackers, a smoke playing mirror closet, he has everything going for him, with 20 seconds on the board to boot.
All right. Time then for Most Wanted to defend this basement again. And now last time we saw them do this, they lost 1 operator and then just sat static and safe and got away with it for free. They didn't get pushed out from this mirror window that Nade is placing here. The firebolt did not land where it needed to. Gurmi Wormy was just able to hold the last 45 seconds of the round with smoke grenades for free.
You have to imagine, though, Lethal probably not going to miss that firebolt again.
Hopefully.
Probably not going to die to a Rook playing in Attic. So as long as they don't make the same mistakes they made last round, they have a good chance of winning.
Alright, the lethal attack is here. Man, it's looking actually very much like Six Cutter right now with this aggressive peek on out. Gun Havoc was mere millimeters away from actually being exposed there to Maman, but he would have had the shield in front of his face if that shot had come across. As it is, Maman is still holding that angle, hopeful for someone to step up there in just a moment's time, but it's not going to happen as Lethal are already in and around that front lobby aggressively. Man still in this backside is holding and staying down there, but we'll see where he chooses to reveal himself this time, because last time it was the attic and he picked up a couple of kills there. Yeah,
it's unlikely that he's going to get much work done from the tower as long as Lethal do not expose themselves unnecessarily to the meeting hall or tower.
Gurmi just got downed through the floor with a breaching charge that was made just to make a hole. Gun Havoc getting a free one, and a free one onto Smoke, of all people.
Yeah, that's a great operator to have off the board early on. They still do have an Echo, but it is going to save a lot of time for the attackers when they're pushing in to get the plant. The only thing that's going to be able to stop them is that Echo drone, especially considering they have the Capitao to counter the mirrors.
Foxer just saw a couple of people go through that gap, didn't shoot them. He's now seeing him go back again. He's just looking for
Playing
that
it safe?
Guaranteed kill, perhaps. Yeah, like one bullet there would not have killed either of those players, but if a head showed up in the gap, okay, got the job done.
I think that patience is actually a really good thing from Fox A. He cannot die either. He shouldn't unnecessarily expose himself either, because he is, again, he's one of the linchpins in this defense. If he dies, now that Smoke's dead, oh no.
That's looking bad for Most Wanted as they do lose out that Echo as well. 3 players left up. One of them, though, is still Maman, who's their ace in the hole and is running around in slightly unpredictable locations.
He's in the attic again.
Attic again, yeah. as he's looking down through this angle towards Chalet. They do grab a kill of their own now as Nade finishes off Senses, but my man has been found. So he is being pinned up here by Chalet while the rest of the attacking team start to pressure the bomb site. In and around towards the plant spot comes AWZ, and Esley can't finish him off. That means they have to peek the corridor to stop this plant, and Gun Havoc's a Blackbeard covering that, so it's not going to happen. The above hatch play here from Zed is keeping Esley pinned in. Even though Zed's not actually there, he's just aware of it, and the plant will go through. Shots rattling across. Esley gets the kill onto Gun Havoc, but doesn't stop the plant, and AWZ will trade Esley back while making sure the diffuser is down. Nade now finishing off AWZ on the plant spot, meaning it's a 2v2 with Chalet and Zed against Nade and Esley, Nade and Maman. Man coming down the front staircase, but Zed is ready for him to peek this direction. Zed peeks away at the wrong second, misses all the important shots, but so does Maman. They are keeping each other busy, but Chalet is pulled off to help out, with enough time for Nade to get towards the diffuser, but not enough time for him to hold it, and it will mean Zed peeks down for the final killing blow to put Lethal once again in the lead.
Yeah, Lethal, as soon as they figure out Most Wanted, they have everything going in their advantage. They seem to win these rounds. Most Wanted, again, they're not doing the spontaneous, weird stuff that's been giving them the advantage in every other round. And unfortunately, my man just not able, I think, Eon, it might come down to the fact that he's playing Rook on that roam. He cannot get into the position to influence the round quickly enough. And when he is in that position, it's either too late or he's so loud that the attackers are ready for him. So unfortunately, that roam not working to their advantage. And Lethal, they don't necessarily have the number, I wouldn't say, of Most Wanted. They haven't figured the Most Wanted out. They're not adjusting for Most Wanted. They just understand the way that Most Wanted is attacking and, I guess, defending, and their strategy, Lethal's strategy, is perfect counter to it.
Alright,
and
so
then
defense of this upper floor this time from Lethal is opening up the attic this time instead of closing it.
An interesting decision from Lethal. We'll see if it works for them. I mean, I guess it could if they're going to get aggressive on that tower hold to try and maybe get a pick early to give them the advantage because they know where the attack's coming from. This might be their adjustment that we were so asking for earlier. But yeah, also on the note of that last round, Echo and Smoke getting picked off. I mean, you still have the mirror, sure, but Echo and Smoke's gone. That's all of your defuse stopping power just out of the way. Yeah. So that also obviously contributed to the end of that round for the attackers. But now Most Wanted
attack shaping up then from that street spawn, and the majority pushing in towards this south side of the map. They are looking through the standardized locations to try and pin in roamers, look for these obvious peaks and wait for their drones to find defenders.
So Lethal has actually won 3 rounds in a row as well. They are putting themselves in a great,
even better positions. They pick up that early kill onto my man Sledge. Gun Havoc in the back tower. Was droned, was found, but instead of being naded out like Zed was before, and he gets a kill.
They're leaving Zed
still in there, and I don't think he was droned or found.
No one's going to expect
that. He does get droned there and kills it off, falls back a little way into the tower, but now that's 2 of them in there. Yes, Most Wanted are in underneath it. He's going to have heard them. They may even hear him. But they are holding aggressive, strong positions here, which will, again, serve to delay Most Wanted further and further.
We talked about how Lethal does not, they were not very adjusting in their border match. But here, as you can see, on Oregon, they're making every necessary adjustment. And Oz with another pick onto Foxley from Junk Tower. Who expects Junk Tower?
Especially, like, they've delayed the attackers for so long on the big tower that you peek out the small one. They were not ready to pay attention to you. They're still trying to find Zed and Gun Havoc. And as a result, they lose one more. Zed C4 goes up and over the top, makes the hole in the wall a little bit bigger. Doesn't allow him to get Gun Havoc. Nade, in fact, will finish Gun Havoc off as he tries to fall through the hatch to Zed's aid. But Zed fell through successfully. They heard him, however. So now they're looking to pressure down into meeting to try and find him. But it's a whole nother area they haven't droned, they don't have eyes on, they're not sure about. And he continues to burn away the clock. Have decided to stop trying to pressure him and now look towards the bomb sites, up the big tower and over towards the kids' windows they watch. Up towards Connector goes Blackbeard, as he will be able to peek in at this angle. This is just inside in that generator closet, but does get tucked away as the peek comes towards the A bomb. Up the back staircase is AWZ, looking towards this front edge where Gurmy Wormy is. Senses is in the back closet, and Gurmy gets a good quick kill onto him, but Esley will be taken out in exchange, and Nade grabs AWZ. Suddenly the defense, which started off so well, is crumbling as there are 3 attackers left up, albeit one of them down, but still in a more revivable location than perhaps a defender locked in the meeting room. Nade is finished off. Zed comes up the ladder and gets away with it.
Gurmy!
Gurmy, after a beautiful kill onto Senses in the closet, falls down to Zed coming up this ladder.
That's unfortunate.
The first bullet out of Zed's gun lands that headshot, and it needed to be the case because Gurmy put him down so low, but not enough.
So both of these teams are eerily similar in the way that they win and lose rounds. They have very similar attack and defense strats for both of the bomb sites. And whichever team is being more random and unpredictable and doing stuff that just honestly doesn't make a whole lot of sense in this level of play, whichever team is doing that tends to win their rounds. And now we're seeing 4 rounds in a row, putting it on to match point for Lethal Gaming after losing the first 2.
This is exactly what we saw on Border, though, and this is where it started to unravel, and Most Wanted pulled it back.
Yeah.
However, what we've seen so far from this map, I don't see that potential in Most Wanted like I did on Border. They were close rounds, even the ones they lost last time around. These ones have not been so close. Lethal have been very dominant.
I mean, if we see Smoke and Echo get picked off early again on this basement defense from Most Wanted, then obviously we're going to see, well, it's going to be map
Chalet.
point,
Yeah,
and we're going to go to Chalet. But if they can reserve their Smoke and their Echo, which I'm sure they've talked about, I'm sure they're conscious of that, I think that there's every chance that they're going to be able to bring it to at least 4-3. Now, going into the next...
Echo drone placement, sorry.
Yeah.
It's the same one they've had in every round before. Yes, they killed Echo before he got a chance to use it the round before, but the first round, where they did win and they successfully stopped the plant, the drone is in exactly the same spot.
Yeah, it is a little predictable.
It's okay, not the easiest thing to get to until you're in the plant location, but once you're there, it's very easy to shoot that because you don't have to expose yourself to get it, and you know where it's going to be.
So we didn't see this, but Gun Havoc did take a little bit of damage from a man this time. My man opting to peek a little bit more aggressively and actually getting the jump on Blackbeard, unfortunately not taking him out, and actually getting some damage traded back into
But as you
Blackbeard's
mentioned
favor.
before, in the in Border,
Yeah.
he's 1 bullet health now for almost anyone on the team. That tiny angle we saw the Echo peeking earlier on, which he was scared to shoot because it wasn't a headshot. Even with his silenced MP5 would be enough to down the Blackbeard through that right now.
Yeah.
So yes, he's not dead, but Wormy didn't take any damage.
You can shoot him anywhere.
As much damage.
Yeah.
And Gun Havoc is now a little bit more exposed.
Yeah, and even more important, I mean, like, Rook is a 3 armor, so it does. Yeah, he's still going to take 2 or 3 bullets with half HP.
So the wall continues to get blown open with the hatch to allow more angles in. The floor is being blown open again by Blackbeard, this time with no smoke underneath it, safely tucked inside the site instead. Does look like Most Wanted definitely learned from their lesson.
But here's the thing, though. Most Wanted, again, the spontaneity is what's been winning these rounds for the defending teams. When you do something crazy and unpredictable, and Most Wanted, they're being extremely predictable in a sense. Ooh. That range.
Still in the back tower, he's still close to the attic and is doing what he was doing before.
But they know.
They know, and however, Lethal aren't actually anywhere close to deal with him right now, so he can afford to stay out here for a lot longer and just take these peaks. Gun Havoc does choose to jump off a roof and reset himself. That's how low he had been taken by that point. A smart play perhaps by them, but it takes, again, yet more time.
Yeah, they're starting to set themselves up, though, on this attack. They've getting rid of this barbed wire, and they're going to see these cap-tail bolts likely come down onto that mirror, which, again, is going to render the mirror kind of useless.
Hopefully, if he lands them right this time.
Yep.
If they are starting to print down. They're actually going to peek down and try and hit it with the Habana charge, but there is a battery sitting on it to make sure that doesn't happen. Smart play by the defending squad. Firebolt, though, not quite lining up where it needs to be, as it is. Senses are right up on the top floor at the moment.
He's still got both of them.
Down. Zed has taken most damage.
Here
Fire
it
goes
is.
through that way. This one goes through. Did it get in? Gurmy, where
I think he missed again.
I think he did.
Oh,
He's
no, he
smoke
did.
it out instead. No, he didn't. It went through,
Oh,
but they
did
aren't
it.
ready to take advantage of it. And the smoke had already killed off the first diffuser placement. They do get back up and get the diffuser now, but have they killed the Echo drone? As that's the next trouble here. As it is, they have got Zed down and out of the picture. They did just revive the operator.
He's gonna stick it.
The plant does stick, so after all that setup to defend it, it's still going to go through. Senses is finished off by the smoke, but he's already done his job with the plant down. However, there's only 3 attackers left up, but they're upstairs, and they are in a good position to perhaps hold this diffuser. Top floor, my man is looking down through the hole made by the attackers themselves as an opportunity to try and punish them, but it hasn't got an angle on it. Now he's coming all the way down as the call comes in from his team that they're going to pressure. Looks towards the classroom, finds Chalet, takes him down. AWZ is finished off Nade. Blackbeard is over by the garage though and gets him through the holes. Great shot through the feet onto my man. But they are on the diffuser, they're sticking it. They are holding it, and it's a great diffuse from Most Wanted in the last second to get themselves 4 rounds to 3.
So Lethal sticks a diffuser plant inside one of the gas canisters, and then Most Wanted sticks a defuse with 2 attackers still on the board. A very close round, nail biter, but Most Wanted keeping themselves in the map. That is a fantastic job by them. A little bit odd that the Echo decided not to get onto his drone. You have to wonder.
He might have been down. There was one person down until just as the plant was finished, and I didn't see who it was, so it may have been the Echo.
It could have also been they were trying to reserve their utility by not giving away the Echo drone early on, opting to wait for the smoke. But either way, it did work out for them. They did win the round, so it was very close.
Man's flank was so perfectly timed that even with 3 attacks left and he only killed 1, he did all the distracting required to give that plant, that diffuser,
the main thing for his flank is that he cordoned off most of the attackers, pushed them into a corner where they could not influence the bomb. And taking just that sledge, like you said, he was the only guy in an actual position to watch the bomb. And then Blackbeard, you know, he's got a shield. He's too slow to rotate from Garage. Habana pushed way too far back. It was a great round for Most Wanted. And again, a minor mistake, absolutely tiny mistake made by Lethal cost them a round.
But they have still got a little bit of room to play with, a little bit of wiggle room here with one more chance here at winning this map and pushing it to a 3rd before we have to worry about any more overtime. However, Most Wanted are going to be looking at this as a familiar feeling. Hopefully Lethal don't let that get to them. They're setting up a couple of cameras and once again playing in and around this attic area. It's what they did previously with Gun Havoc and it worked out, but he is not choosing to be so aggressive with this time. It does rotate down as the attack starts to come forward. Drones, double of them inside that big tower. Make sure it's openly clear and covering it from all angles as the attack from Most Wanted does start to shape up and realize that the defenders are not too spread and not too heavy on the roaming presence as we've seen from Tumsquid. They have players upstairs, they have players sporadically sped around, but it's not in, or it doesn't feel to be in the coordinated fashion we see other teams do this. Gun Havoc is in the kitchen, but is actively reinforced off and cut from his team.
Yeah, he's going to be playing in a sense of as a total individual. No teamwork whatsoever, just do as much as you can from this position and waste as much time as you can and just try not to die. And he's going to be playing in the junk tower. Again, this is something that we don't see a whole lot of, but it has worked so far in this matchup.
Peeking through that window, no one revealing themselves to him this time over. So he runs all the way back on through here. He's yet to have been droned specifically himself, so he'll be free to move around a little bit as they do now realize, and the calls are coming out from Senses and from Zed, that the attack is coming through from the big tower towards meeting. Hibana charges, I do believe, may have bugged out on that one. It's up to the team to call it if they want anything done. The C4 was thrown out by Senses and is now just sitting next to the wall. Fox has picked off the kill onto AWZ there, taking away that bandit. More Hibana charges going to go off on the back wall now.
And they all detonate.
Successfully detonate the entirety of the hole. Foxer stands himself up against the battery. Does see that man coming around the corner through the mirror window, sprays wildly. Neither of them get a serious damage off for the kill or a down, and Foxer, while low, makes it out to fight another day. However, he does let Gun Havoc get back down in towards the basement, which is meaning he can pressure Gurmy Wormy, forces him into a corner where Zed was waiting for it, and the attackers are now being manhandled here by the defense.
This is a really interesting attack, I have to say, from Most Wanted. It doesn't seem to have any one particular objective. They took control of meeting, and now they're just kind of pushing downstairs.
Feels a little bit reminiscent of solo queue at the moment, to
yeah.
be honest.
It's an odd choice. And
they are stabilizing now.
Yeah,
okay, so we're looking back towards the front lobby. We're looking to a more familiar, standardized attack here. Gun Havoc, though, onto that A-bomb. Actually, he kills Nade. And then the Blackbeard on the stairs could have picked him off, but didn't have the opportunity. He also gets Foxer up through that hole. Foxer had a chance to kill him there while he was distracted by the stairs, but didn't land enough damage. And he gets further and further away. Most Wanted are crumbling here in this final round. And as Maman does finally pick up a kill onto Zed, they are still in a 3v2 situation. Maman pushing from the back and from red. Blackbeard is up front. It does have the diffuser dropped, but he's got a mirror window and a smoke to contend with, and that's going to happen inevitably. So now Maman is in a 1v2, and he has to sprint straight into Senses to push us onto Chalet.
A good game. We're going to the third match. This is, I think, the second time we will be seeing a third map in this entire Pro League. So both of these teams really neck and neck, very even. And we talked earlier about how Lethal may have lost that last round on border because of all of the pressure, because of just, there's so much on their mind. I mean, it's just a lot to take into account. And now we're seeing the same thing for Most Wanted. They're put in a similar position. They kind of, their attack just was all over the place. They seemed like they maybe had a good idea taking control of tower, but then they didn't switch up for a construction take. I mean,
it looks to be, it's like, okay, border, Most Wanted have the strats, they have the confidence, the pressure is there, but
Lethal had the strats too.
Yeah, but like they had the confidence and the knowledge on the map that they can make these on-the-fly decisions and change and learn from it, and as a result, we're winning all the rounds. Come back to Oregon, and we flipped it now. So Lethal are the teams that have the map knowledge and the training, which, yes, they have the strats, and Most Wanted have the strats, but when they start to fall a bit, when they start to crumble a bit, Lethal have the map knowledge and the team communication and coordination on that map to make those adjustments and fly where it is. This is what we expected to see from this matchup. These teams are evenly matched.
They're neck and
now
neck.
It comes down to, rather than being skillfully evenly matched on every single map, the difference in those two maps is night and day.
Yes.
One way or the other. And now it's going to come down to who knows Chalet better as a 5-man squad.
I think not necessarily even as a 5-man squad. What you were talking about, the understanding the map as an individual, I feel like is what's helping these teams out, because one player making a play like Zed in the bathroom here, for example, one player making a play that he knows will work is what's winning a lot of these rounds on both Border and Oregon for the opposite teams. It's just one guy doing something spectacular in an individual round, like my man in Attic, that round.
This round right here.
Yeah, exactly. My man coming from behind, cordoning off the attackers. Gun Havoc on the last round, just playing, he knew he could hide by that bomb because nobody expects that early on. It is very exposed. You don't think that you're going to see a defender there. So when they put themselves in that position, you catch people off guard. You can cover anyone coming down the stairs as an attacker and get an easy kill onto their back. I mean, it's just, yeah, like you said, it's map knowledge, but I think it's more map knowledge for the individual player.
True, definitely there in the standout that last round as well. As it is, of course, we do need to decide who's attack and who's defense on this third and final map. That means a coin flip between the teams, and as that is done through and settled, we will look at Chalet a bit. It's one which we said, and you said yourself, is a fuse haven, and we have players in this game which have fuse as their most played because of their previous games here on Chalet.
Yeah, Sense is bringing out that fuse pretty much every single round on Chalet. It didn't necessarily work for them, though. The way they were trying to use fuse was to try and maybe get a kill here and there, and that doesn't necessarily always work. I think what they might try to make an adjustment here is using him to force defensive operators out of their position. So say you're trying to take from lobby to dining. You know there's somebody playing behind the dining table. You fuse above the dining table as you're pushing in. So when you have attackers in the threshold of the door going into dining, they can just wait there for the fuse charges to detonate and then push themselves in without having to challenge anyone at all.
As it is, though, we are into map number 3, Most Wanted versus Lethal. Loser of this map is done here in this season of the Pro League. They are off home. Winner will advance to next week's deciding game against what is currently an unknown opponent. It will either be Vertical Gaming or Flipside Tactics. That is yet to be decided and will be decided later on this afternoon. Here is our lineup, though, for first round on Chalet.
No.
Attack for Lethal brings a Glaz, Hibana, Thermite, Thatcher, and Sledge to the table. Defense for Most Wanted, Rook, Smoke, Valkyrie, Jaeger, and Mute.
A very distinct lack of a fuse for Lethal here, instead opting, like you said, for that Glaz. And you have to wonder if they're just trying to make an adjustment based on the meta. I'm guessing on this, I mean, they are a team, I think they were one of the teams that were incorporating the radio tower into their upstairs take, try and deny that bathroom roam, but we'll see if they do it on this particular round.
So with the operators they've got here, this feels like a potential top floor take, as you say, with the radio tower and a Glaz. Hibana open the hatch to help clean out this end of kitchen a little way. Then you take West Main and you Thermite your way in.
Yeah,
or
no, that
it's a
makes
Thermite take, which they picked it in case they were basement, but now they're just going to kind of use them as a fragger because there's nothing to really blow.
Yeah, if they're not taking West Lobby, there's no reason to have Thermite. As your entire speculation is accurate. There's pretty much spot on. There's not much else to say about it. But what I want to see is if they're going to be doing the radio tower and the, I guess the bird's nest. I'm not sure what to call that other tower, to be honest. It's very rarely used because we have seen teams do both of those to pincer the roamers upstairs. However, Most Wanted are opting instead to simply roam in the library, not so much towards the office master bathroom area.
As it is, Senses as well is not over on that far side towards the radio tower. He is back here, but he is heading that direction, and they have got Gun Havoc up here by the library wall, whose drone is currently inactive. Throws another one downstairs, and we'll head that towards the far staircase.
So they are definitely setting themselves up in a position to take upstairs. I mean, that's pretty cut and dry. It's what we expect. But how they're going to handle my man playing in the library is really what it comes down to. Senses with a nice pick onto Esley through the drone hole.
Feet exposed to the drone hole. He'll grab that kill, but my man immediately trades Gun Havoc back, so the Thatcher is gone. Nice angle from Chalet through the bushes, but can't see anyone and chooses to move up and away. Lethal are starting to shape up towards the master bedroom. They did see Foxer on that drone, but rather than running away from that, he's actually getting more aggressive. Comes close to the door, stays prone, and is looking for someone to perhaps peek around with their guard down. However, is he cautious or aware of senses coming around from the office? He does in fact get droned out again, jumps across down the staircase and looks towards West Main, but realizes it's open and is unsure once more about where to go. Shot's still rattling through all the walls, and he finally gets down into Fireplace and away from it all, but has another drone following him to give his position up.
Oh man is still in Library, taking all the time away from Gun Havoc here. Or sorry, from Chalet, excuse me.
He'll finish off Maman as he steps into his fire there as that drone was finally picked off. But again, more time gone. But a minute 15 is not a lot, so while one kill was there, it's not great. Foxer, though, after being so mobile, takes away the glass from this picture. So they leave 2 breaches, and I was going to say a sledge, but no, Foxer finds him too after being still uncontainable and roaming around the bar and the library and just wherever the hell he wants, really, down on the other side of this map.
And it's looking like Most Wanted, they are that team where the individual players, they have the knowledge on the map advantage, at least in this first round. Because, I mean, that was a beautiful play from Fox to even it out for his team.
Yeah, Lethal's entire plan here is not going well when it comes to pinning and locking these Romans into these spots. As you mentioned, that's how and why you put players on the radio tower and the bird's nest or whatever, is to lock these Romans in spots. Instead, these guys were not locking anyone down, or in some situations where they could have, they were losing the firefights. They're going to straight drop in through kitchen hatch and look towards the site. They do down one, and that allows Thermite to perhaps get into the site just in time.
He could
actually plant this, but Zed's trying to go aggressively for kills instead, and Wormy will finish him off.
Yeah, the what we were talking about earlier, as far as advantages go, it does seem like it has a lot to do between these two teams, who is more knowledgeable and more experienced on the map they're playing. And Most Wanted saying, in that first round at least, that they are that team. They are the team with the leg up here. Like you were talking about, there's the radio tower, there's the sniper nest, there's ways you can handle those roamers. You could even bring a Montaigne and force them downstairs.
Say, a Montaigne instead of Thermite there would have been nice.
Exactly. There's tons of different ways you can handle them, but it just seems like Lethal weren't entirely sure what they were going to be dealing with and didn't know, well, how to handle it. They just opted to go for straight up challenges onto the roamers, and they just lost those fights.
So, as it is, we're switching the tables once again and putting Lethal onto defense. Most Wanted on attack, bringing a widely different lineup of operators, which we'll get to in a moment, but still no fuse. For the defense, though, everything is very same old here as far as Lethal are concerned. We've seen them running similar operators on every map so far.
Yeah, we do have a Buck, as you guys can see from the UI, which is a little older hat. It's not as... I don't know, it's not as commonly seen anymore. People opting to bring Sledge. Yeah, on Chalet. People opting to bring Sledge instead of him for the most part. They like the L85, they like the SMG-11. They just preference, really, when it comes down to it. Because he is, now he can easily open up floors. It used to be, whatever. People opting to bring Sledge. And Most Wanted bringing a Buck is kind of an interesting decision here. I'm curious to see if he's going to have a DMR or the C8.
As it is so, a couple of last-second cameras being thrown out here.
Here we go.
By Zed. We do see Esley up on this Pride Rock, firing on into the master bedroom for one of these lucky shots or picks in towards master bedroom. But what it's doing is starting to control and pin and herd in the roamers. The question is, can they lock them in, which is where their previous round the attacking team fell down.
We are seeing a lot of this aggression from Lethal, which is what we want to see from them. Look, there's a Valkyrie playing in that little connector doorway to the outside. If somebody decides to come in through gaming room, he's going to have the jump on him.
And we do see, as you mentioned, the DMR on Buck.
Most people are preferring the cameras over the C8. C8's got a lot of unpredictable recoil, even for a pro player.
Is where he chooses to go.
Oh, there it is.
And down he goes. Sensors is up and above the hatch. Gun Havoc peeking out, taking Wormy down as well at that same moment. Quick double kill for the defending team with the Buck and Thatcher off the table. Meanwhile, Zed is still hiding in that small little closet because he has not been found yet.
And Gun Havoc's still in library, so even though the mute has rotated down into gaming room, there's still another player upstairs to cover his flank.
And you see how scared Blackbeard is of heading that direction right now. A Blackbeard scared of a firefight with a Jaeger is a strange sight.
Well, I think in this game in general, being scared of a firefight, no matter who. Ooh,
nice shot
pick.
Box of those, ready for Gun Havoc, still in library, ready for that pre-aim, and did crouch around and land the headshot he needed. It's just the one kill though, and they've got a minute 30 and need to find 4 more.
As I was saying, a lot of this game does really come down to confidence. Confidence in your aim, confidence in getting the ability, your ability to get that kill is really important. And the way that Most Wanted's playing here is the same that we saw Lethal play on this particular attack. They stalled out. They could not handle the roamers. They weren't sure, and they went about it the same way, and just trying to force out those fights and losing them.
Zed's still hiding in this little closet, has got cameras to watch it. Esley's inside the bar now. It's being smoked out though, thanks to Chalet playing in dining room, as you mentioned earlier on, is a standard spot for defenders to sit and a great one for a smoke. Meanwhile, upstairs, we see Nade dropping down to taking Chalet down because he dropped through kitchen, but AWZ has traded Nade straight back out from trophy room. Esley though has got free roam of dining because of that kill and is starting to push his way in here with now just the Ash as support. Ash, meanwhile, is hiding in Fireplace to look for that flank from Zed. But Zed seems to be aware that he's here and is not coming through this doorway so aggressively. It means Esley is alone pushing into the site now. He is fighting with the bandit inside trophy. Will not get that shot off at this moment. Foxer, though, picks off Zed and can now come and join the pressure into site. It is a 2v2. AWZ is still pinned inside trophy. He does go for the drop shot and wins it, so Blackbeard falls. Ash is mere moments away, though, from joining, but Senses is coming up the staircase. Ash grabs that one. AWZ peeks across the gap. Doesn't land the killing blow, but it means they're going to have to push him with the pistol out. Pistols fight from both these two, and there's more bullets in AWZ's gun, so he wins the fight.
Man, I was holding my breath for that one. That was an extremely close round from almost a throw from Lethal. They had the advantage going into the early round with winning that roaming game so hard, but Ash, I think it was who was that? Well, Ash.
Ash and Bandit.
It was MW. It was MW. MW almost bringing it back for his team. That was so incredibly close. It was a really nice try on a clutch there. But now we're seeing, again, the same thing from both of these teams. They're losing their roamer game, or they're losing the roaming hunting game. They're winning the roaming game on defense for trophy, and it's in the same exact way. It's mostly centered around Library Gaming Room.
So, one round apiece, and once again we're looking at a lethal attack. Now, this time around, that Thermite and Hibana combination is going to have a lot more use as they are heading towards the basement selection. So there's a lot of walls that can be breached here to take advantage of Glaz's long range and smoke play. But on top of that, they're bringing IQ back.
Yeah, and IQ could be very useful on this particular bomb site if you're worried about people peeking outside. There are some fantastic places you can put a camera outside Snowmobile, and based upon the fact that they did bring that Thermite, they could either go Snowmobile or Wine Cellar. It's up to them, really. They have infinite amount of choices.
So, their final few moments of defense gets set up. The trapdoors in Fireplace.
Looks like Most Wanted is extremely ready for a Snowmobile bar take. They've got a lot of presence going to be centered around bar and library and gaming room in that sense.
So we'll see where it is, because right now Lethal are pushing in this direction from the Snowmobile side of things, and it works nicely with the new Glaz setup, but is not the hardest thing to counter.
Honestly, it's eerie how much these teams read each other. They obviously, they have to scrim. I can't imagine that these teams don't scrim, because the way they're playing on both their attacks and their defenses, they are ready for everything the other team is about to throw at them. They know it's going to happen.
Zed's drone comes on in, does get taken out by Maman very quickly. The batteries are pre-placed though. Zed going to continue droning again. EMPs go down. Zed's drone looks once more for Maman. Then he'll come through, immediately starts taking the Thermite charge out, placing it. Maman will be way too late to plant that. The wall gets blown open. But everyone from Most Wanted does get back in and hides safely after the charge goes off.
So now we're going to see Lethal try to push their way into the bar and open up that bar drop down. But again, the defenders are in good positions, yes, they are in good positions, or they were in good positions. They've actually all fallen back to the site. They've set themselves up to hold bar, but they've opted to instead play a little bit more passive. You have to wonder if that's going to work for them. Again, like you said, with this Glaz being so easy for them to push into the Snowmobile garage.
Havoc looking to come down this blue corridor. He's being kept on the stairs by Foxer. The prone drop comes on in, but Foxer, despite being flashed, gets back to safety. Does now get pushed down. Actually picked off by the Glaz from behind. I believe Senses shoots him from outside the garage in towards that back corridor, but the job is the same. It's a kill, and they are now up a man.
If you prone there, you can see underneath the Snowmobile, and you can see the feet of the proned individual behind the black box. So very tight angle.
Havoc will push down this back alley now, but he's cautious of someone else aggressively peeking it, and is right to be, as Maman picks him off and trades him straight away again, keeping the numbers evenly 4v4. Back alley still has some presence, but is half towards the bar from the Hibana. She may rotate down there later on. Here she comes. But question is, do they know about it? It looks like they have a camera down there because my man is back to focusing this way. Smoke grenade comes on out, and they are looking for the use of Glaz to provide that information, but it does mean AWZ won't be able to deal with the bandit just yet either. 40 seconds to go as AWZ gets tagged up, but they do manage to use senses to pick off my man again. Smoke grenade comes out from the defensive team, but actually they're just going to run Zed straight through into an unpredictable corner for placing this bomb. He's looking to try and plant it down. He's got normal Glad smokes on top of him to help them defend. Jeremy looking to peek on around. Chalet's there waiting for him, and they are getting the plant down. It's through. Esley finishes AWZ off, but Zed is still on his diffuser. Esley's coming around the back alley. Fox is looking for Zed's feet. Esley can see Zed's head, but he's pinned behind the box. Zed will fall, meaning Glaz and Chalet are the last two up. They're both around by the snowmobile itself. Chalet sees the Foxer in connector and will lose a firefight after missing too many shots, meaning Senses is alone with no smoke grenades now. He knows one's in back alley. He's going to be spotted here by Foxer, who peeks around the corner using that mirror window. Esley comes once on again behind the bomb. The diffuser is in a very open and exposed position, but so is the Glaz, and Senses picks him out. It's going to be very tight here on the diffuse though. There's not a lot of time left on this clock. Did Senses stay alive long enough to delay this? The diffuser is going to come through Foxer, and they will win the round.
So that was a great pick apart from Senses, but unfortunately he was unable to lock out that round. He actually got, a lot of people are probably wondering how that bandit died. He got, again, the feet, similar to the player prone behind the black box in the back alley. He got 2 kills on the players proning, shooting their feet. That was some incredible picking from him. That round would not have been nearly as close as it was if he hadn't got those. But unfortunately for Lethal, Most Wanted still able to bring the round back even after a plant has been made. And that is honestly very impressive. Good gunplay from Most Wanted to get that retake.
And as you mentioned before, it's smart play and map knowledge from individual players. And that time, Esley flanking up from the wine cellar, around the back of bar, around the back of the blue corridor, taking out AWZ's Cabana in that back alley. And just that timing and presence of mind to think, all right, the attack's coming through, the plant is still down, but no one is in this back site, and I can exploit this. Yeah,
and that was Most Wanted. I mean, when you're dealing with somebody trying to push through bar and snowmobile, I mean, the points of contention are only so many. And when you have 4 defensive operators still alive, you can trust your teammates enough to rotate around like that and give your teammates at least some reprieve from the push. And they did just that. It worked out for them. But now we're going to see Lethal going into the basement defense.
So, as their setup goes, it's currently looking very familiar. Big hole made towards back alley from inside the wine. Reinforcement and a mirror window here with a hole next to it. But actually,
well, that's just going to be a camera, I think.
Leaving a hole in the garage to open up.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's not good. Camera opportunity does throw it out, and then immediately begins the reinforcement. Should still have plenty of time to get it done. But that moment of fear, and she misses the first camera, is there. Either way, it is out there, and there's no IQ on the attacking team to find it this time, so we'll see if it lasts.
Well, I mean, it's a dark camera on a snow
I know
floor.
It's not impossible, but as well, see how long it lasts. But either way, they are actually attacking the other side of the site anyway, so it's irrelevant. They're all coming from the main garage.
So this is interesting. It's a wine cellar take. However,
the wall wasn't reinforced.
Yeah, I was going to say no thermite, but the wall's not reinforced, so it doesn't matter.
They're getting very quickly. A couple of these cameras being picked off already here from Zed. Ash seeds that are hidden out there waiting for her. This one is standing and looking over himself. Most Wanted have control of trophy room and have the wall blown wide open next to Sledge. And are now looking for this. Gun Havoc still up by library. Fox's drone's coming down. That wall left open.
It's just confusing.
Yeah. Now, thankfully for the defensive team, there's no Glaz, because that's a beautiful angle for him to play these days.
Right.
But he's not on this attacking roster. As it is, though, they're staying very static downstairs.
Given the lack of a Glaz, it just really comes down to who wins the firefight. So even a defensive operator, especially as Senses with that vector, that close angle, could easily use that hole to his advantage, but it is more dangerous than it needs to be for them.
Zed's gone back into fireplace. Gun Havoc is rotating around. He was upstairs in library, but is now mobile once again. The defenders inside the site are staying very static. Nade, though, is now heading around to make a hole in the back of the small wine cellar, which is going to force AWZ into a more defensive position. Smoke grenades are already coming out, though, towards this back area, towards this back alleyway and wine. to try and lock the attackers out there, and it's working for now. Esley's taking a bit of damage to his shield and to his face, but nothing serious. They are going to push Foxer into the site. Senses has moved from the corner, but just in time, his feet is shot out by Maman, who finishes off both AWZ and Senses, and then gets a third onto Chalet. Now it is just those two roamers, Zed and Gun Havoc, looking to come down. Esley is there for Gun Havoc to flank back. Zed is above the diffuser and does stop it before slowly edging himself away. Does he know there's a man in West Main? I don't know, but the C4 is going to come down, grab one, then they're going to be there waiting for him. Gurmy Wormy sprints into kitchen to finish him off.
Some good adaptation from Gurmy Wormy, being conscious of the Valkyrie's position at the end there. If Valkyrie had been left to her own devices up on that drop down, she had clear line of sight onto the fuser, could have held that for the rest of the round.
If she'd have killed Gurmy, that could have been all it needed. There was not a lot of time left. The other two, while being downstairs, would have had to go through her to get the diffuser.
But that aside, I think we can attribute that particular defense loss to a lack of a reinforcement on the main wall because they didn't have a thermite to open it in the first place.
To be fair, while it was opened, yes, it would have been harder with that thermite, but even when it got opened, they didn't really do anything to get through from it.
It was mostly the closet.
They opened the small closet, and then we saw those 3 kills coming out of a man with that beautiful position over there. So, yeah, it
didn't help.
It didn't help having it unreinforced, but they did do a good job of keeping themselves safe from that hole once it was blown until there was a further damage.
Yes. But we are seeing now, finally, a fuse coming out on this upstairs attack from Zed.
Yeah, and that is in place of what he'd been playing previously in almost the entire day, the Thermite, which we just agreed and saw on their last attack of the site. You don't need when attacking the kitchen trophy room unless you're going through West Main, which is so rare these days.
Yep.
But we also have now a Twitch on Gun Havoc, which is new and different from what we've seen from them prior and previously. But again, it goes back to what we've seen convincingly from both of these squads on different occasions throughout the course of these two maps, which is superior gunplay and great firework. So if he can just straight up get the kills, which previously they've been losing in some of these engagements, it can make or break rounds.
I do think that bringing the Twitch is actually the right decision in this circumstance. We've been talking about also game sense or map knowledge. We've been talking about that and how that's determining these rounds. And clearly, Most Wanted, they have the edge on Chalet. They know this map better. And I think bringing that Twitch and bringing that fuse is just an attempt to try and tip the balances back into their favor. Try and give them a leg up in the situation where they know less about the map. And I think it is definitely the right decision in this circumstance.
As it is, a quick attack from Lethal is taking shape towards the master bedroom again. They've opened up that hatch very early on. A man, though, hiding in that small closet as Gun Havoc has got into master bedroom. Sorry, library. The top floor is under Lethal control, but the question is, how do they get from here to the site? Most Wanted are comfortable and static in these positions at the moment, ready and waiting to receive the Lethal attack. Fuse up and in the master bedroom, does have some angles down, but no real knowledge of what to fuse in or onto at the moment. Chalet's trying to grenade in through the kitchen window, but it will be taken out by the trophy system. And that drone does actually see the pair of these players here in the corridor. C4's trying to go up through to the floor, but does miss Zed. Instead, he's going to fuse straight down on top of where that Valkyrie was sitting. She and Mute, however, get away to safety long before it goes off. Oh, but no, it bounced all the way into Dining and gets a double down onto Valkyrie and Smoke. Do they know about this? Lethal have 2 down players that they don't know about, and they are technically in a 5v3 right now. One of them gets finished off by that second fuse charge, and now the breach charge is going off from Zed as well to give him shot angles down instead. Foxer manages to crawl to safety down through the hole in the floor that was blown by that fuse charge, and then gets revived. But upstairs, the push is coming in from the roamers, but AWZ shuts my man down, and the roamer impact here from Most Wanted
nobody on
is
the
not
site.
there. Foxer goes back up through that main staircase, runs past Esley on his way. They do take him out and now realize that they are all against one. Shots come out from the Laxing bush, tag but don't frag. Chalet, though, gets down from that one, but he wasn't the man with the diffuser, so AWZ's plant is going to continue. Gun Havoc is now holding one angle. Senses is going to smoke up the corridor before looking to push this way. He does get pre-fired, but it's not going to be enough, as he will shut down Esley and give Lethal a convincing round.
So a bit of a, you could say, a lucky fuse charge there. It was well aimed, however, the intended aim was dodged. So he kind of lucked a little bit out on that fuse charge, opened up the site for the attackers, and gave them all of the options to play with. The player in Trophy had to rotate to try and pick up those 2 players downed in Dining, and because of that, the attackers were able to simply just push into Trophy, get the plant down, and lock out the round.
Time then for Lethal to go back to the kitchen trophy room for their round of defense. As for Most Wanted's attack of it, they are not bringing the fuse. They are keeping away from that and going with a more traditional lineup instead, bringing themselves a Banner and an Ash for 3 speeds, and then Sledge and Thatcher for 2, and of course a Blackbeard to likely play around kitchen/trophy room window for a while once they've got control of the upper floors.
We've been seeing a lot of Blackbeard from both of these teams, and he hasn't been seriously impactful, although in some situations has been helpful. Although I think the problem for me is that both of these teams are bringing Blackbeard to try and challenge these roamers, where they could be bringing a Montaigne, for example, to force them out of their positions, because the roamer game has historically gone in the favor of the team on defense that's been playing the most aggressive, and both of these teams have been playing very aggressive.
Once again, Zed opening up these lower floors, looking for these camera placements, looking for these opportunities to get at outside vision without the camera being found straight up. See how long it lasts, as he does go straight up towards the trophy room window at the moment. There's a player directly to the left of that window on top of the cabinet, will of course be safe from the Blackbeard push, but he is exposed to shots from the other side of the trophy if he stays there too long, and that's exactly where Fox is sitting. So he has moved away, is now hiding in a different spot altogether. Fox are still around by West Main. Will open that door up and cut off some of the rotates soon enough. AWZ is trying to stay mobile, make sure he doesn't get taken out through a drone hole or anything crazy like that. But at the same time, the drones are swarming elsewhere. They do not find Zed's roam this time around, and he'll shut down the man with an aggressive early peek onto that sledge. So the defense is looking stronger, and as we saw before, there is a theme in this series so far of teams winning rounds on the trot. Right now, we are on a bit of a streak for Lethal.
Yeah, and again, the trot being the team who is being more aggressive in the moment, and that's what Lethal's doing. It's really working out for them. Unfortunately, Zed opting not to peek in that instance where he could have gotten a kill, but he has gotten a pick already. Oz is down in the B bomb site. I don't think that Most Wanted knows, though.
No, the Blackbeard did put a couple of shots into him, but I'm not sure he's aware that he's down. There's definitely nothing that the defensive team can do to get him back up yet, though. Foxer will finish him off eventually, I believe, through the floor. But, yeah, there it is, through the floor. They are down to a minute and a half left to go. Zed is still downstairs, and Foxer is potentially in trouble with him there, so he's playing it safe. Zed, however, has chosen to up and leave and move to somewhere else, fight another day.
This Most Wanted strategy is really reminiscent of older seasons where they're just pivoting around the B window, trying to take out the players in B itself from underneath. There's not a whole lot else going on here with this attack strat. They're not challenging the roamers very much. They're just trying to get themselves into B.
Chalet playing just tucked around the corner from Trophy at the moment. Maybe they're ready and waiting for anyone to come through the window. He, of course, has those smoke grenades and I'm sure a camera watching that window to know if and when he should peek onto whoever comes in. It will be a Blackbeard, so it'll be tough, but possible. Gun Havoc looking down the main corridor is what Gurmy Wormy is currently unsure about. Meanwhile, Zed is coming back in through dining room, leaving one last rover of senses upstairs. In they come. Gun Havoc picks Gurmy Wormy off easily. Chalet takes down Foxer elsewhere, and it leaves just the 2 attackers left up. One of them's half health, and the other is Blackbeard, who is now smoked away from that window. Nade upstairs does go for a drop through the hatch in towards kitchen, is immediately shut down by Gun Havoc from dining again. Esley comes back to the trophy window, goes in with the Desert Eagle in hand, knowing that it's just a matter of learning and burning out that round, and Lethal round us out 3 rounds to 3.
Again, a little bit of an old hat strat coming out from Most Wanted. They are trying to force themselves in through the B window by taking out the player from underneath, or the B player from underneath. And unfortunately, they did get one player. They got the bandit from underneath, but they could not lock out that smoke. And because of that, their strategy kind of fell apart, not being able to come in through B. It doesn't really afford them many options. Although, to be honest, that strategy didn't seem like it would have worked even if they had gotten rid of the smoke, because the wall to kitchen was open, and it could have easily, the B window could have easily been challenged from dining table itself, and there was no pressure from the attackers onto dining table.
All right, so we're back to a 3v3 round situation. Bearing in mind, this map decides it all. Loser goes home. Winner advances with another chance to stay in the Broly, but the scoreline's so even, it could still go either way. Most Wanted on defense once again, going into the the kitchen and the trophy room. This time bringing a rook back to the table to try and have that a little bit more sustainability. As Fox's cameras are pre-placed around again. Chalet on that IQ once more. Didn't do a great job of finding the cameras last time around, but they did use him for the grenades and use him for straight firepower instead.
And this is one of the, I have to say, this is one of the closest matchups we've seen in this Pro League for, well, in a long, long time. Both of these teams struggling to keep their dreams alive and maintain their position in the Pro League, get themselves one more chance to push forward and play against the loser of the next matchup today.
So, once again, the shaping up is actually coming out from the front yard at the moment. They'll start to open some windows and doors on West Mains in a moment. And you see Chalet shooting a couple open and pre-firing up the staircase just to get try and lucky. AWZ droning through the master, or the main garage, as the cameras are being checked for here by IQ, as we thought.
Interestingly, we're not seeing as much of a heavy roaming presence from the defenders as we are used to on this particular bomb site. However, we're also not seeing the attackers challenging from library. My man is the only roamer right now for the defenders, and he's playing around bar.
See whether or not he gets found or how long he spends down there. The attackers are sort of looking for library, but not doing it
not as much as they usually do.
I mean, to be fair, this is what we've seen them do the entire game, right? But that's why when there are roamers up there, they haven't actually been doing a great job of pinning them in there or punishing them, because they're only half-assedly doing it. Now this time they're getting away with it because there's no one there, but they're burning time on not a lot right now.
Yeah, and here comes Gun Havoc. That was the library player, and he's put himself, he's obviously cleared the upstairs of all of the roamers. The Jaeger having to default back to possibly the basement, can't quite tell from this angle. And Lethal is just going to be opening up the ceiling, trying to, or sorry, the floor, I guess, and the ceiling at the same time, to try and get the angles onto the anchors in the site. They have this nice, ooh, they can see Jaeger. Oh.
They can see Jaeger, but he can't quite tag him in the head down through that tight angle. The man just falls back and looks for a different way. Gun Havoc, though, opens up the killing by taking out Nade. They are going to leap in, but Esley will shut him down quickly. Chalet picked off as soon as he comes in towards Trophy, and then the smoke grenade goes off to lock the rest of them out. AWZ, though, has finished Esley off and started the plant. Gun Havoc picking off Gomi Romy now, leaving just 2 defenders, but Foxer stops the plant onto AWZ before being picked off by Zed, who's going to go and restart it all over again. Picks up the diffuser and begins. My man now looking to try and 1v3. Zed planting inside the site. He's coming around, and he does stop it in time. Now he's just got to stay alive. Senses and Gun Havoc are the two. Gun Havoc coming around to the window. The shot comes out from a man. He's going to do this if he can pick up one more kill. It is Senses, though, on Glaz. He's got that bright yellow marker on when to shoot. He's got the smoke grenade. Senses comes to the kitchen, tags him, but can't frag him. Now, my man is looking through the smoke with the pre-fire. Gun Havoc is already down. Senses is pushing aggressively through the pre-fires there from a man. Tags him up. And again with a beautiful peek. The man picks up 3 headshots and the round for Most Wanted, putting them on map point.
That was some great aggression from Lethal Gaming, an excellent strategy, although a little archaic, pushing straight through the B window. We've seen it work before for teams in the past, just getting that that aggression all at once, pushing through the B window, going through the kitchen drop, just all at once together as a team, and it works, and it did work for them, but my man was just like, nah, sorry, you can't have that round.
They rushed the plant out. If Zed had just stayed off the diffuser for a couple of seconds there and waited for Gun Havoc to join him at that window, he'd have been fine. The
you know what it was?
Havoc went out that window, Zed could have held the plant and would have been covered, but because he wasn't covered.
It was Zed relying on the player on kitchen window, thinking that because there's someone on kitchen window, he can't go through the hallway. But my man just ran past him.
It's also, I don't want to put it all on Zed, because AWZ was doing the plant first, and he got rushed down and killed off, because Zed then had to trade away his death, and then Zed was exposed because they were down an extra player. And yeah, rather than waiting to reshuffle, they just tried to rush the plant out instead, and they didn't count for how close my man was.
Yeah, if it hadn't been a Jaeger, if it had been, for example, a Mira or Brook for that matter, any 3 armor, then he would not have been able to make that cross with a player on the kitchen window. But because it was the Jaeger, he could just run on past. The shot was missed, and thus my man got an easy, well, not an easy, a fantastic, impressive clutch onto Lethal Gaming, putting them on match point now and series point for that matter.
It is, but it is Lethal's defense of the basement hole with these very mobile robots.
Yeah, what is
Zed
this?
And Gun Havoc running around the trophy side of the map. Now, if they know that Most Wanted like to spawn at this end, that may be why. They also know that the aggression from Most Wanted came from this end before, and with that wall unreinforced, they knew that that's where it's there. Now, these aggressive positions may punish people that are coming in without paying the most amount of attention. As it is, they have been droned out there, and they are going to start to fall back. The question I want to know is, did they reinforce that wall this time?
We'll find out in a second, hopefully.
as it is. The drones are coming in now that
They
they
did.
realize they did reinforce that up, so they're not going to be able to get through there this time over, not as easily anyway.
They
do
don't have a thermite.
hit banner to maybe take out the mirror window, but that's not as anywhere near as much control or vision as it would have been with a thermite. Gun Havoc, meanwhile, has okay rotated away from where he was, but he's gone all the way up and is now looking at it from a different angle, and the drones have stopped being used.
And Most Wanted did win this round last time, but it was because of, again, a mistake on Lethal's part not reinforcing that wall. Now that the wall's been reinforced, this is easily, if Lethal plays this right, it could be their round.
The drones are now starting to come upstairs. Gun Havoc, however, has hidden himself away a little bit deeper. Now he's going to get spotted by Fox's drone. Can't quite kill it, but will start to rotate away again. The Hibana charge is going to go off, takes out the mirror window and a hole next to it. Makes a nice big one, but is it enough? Maman opens up the killing onto AWZ, and that is the start of the end, perhaps, from Lethal, as Most Wanted have that one-man advantage now. They do still have a very small angle in which to pressure this, but the small wine cellar's been opened up, and that means Blackbeard can now be the man to pressure in through this front side. Senses is in there, Zed is in the connector with Gun Havoc. Those are the two roamers that have come back to join it now. Senses tucked around that corner, as you mentioned, has the Vector though, and that's great at close range engagements. Blackbeard is looking for a peek up and around and over the bomb. Zed has decided time to go up and over the top. There is a minute to go. And they are looking to fight for their lives. Zed's C4 goes off and it opens up that trapdoor again, I believe, to give him that angle from above. Chalet and Senses now looking through these holes in the wall. The smoke grenades are going to try and come out from Chalet, but they're not going too deep in. They're happy to let them burn through here though. Fox are taking a little bit of damage through that hole in the wall. Zed still being mobile upstairs, but LZ takes down the first kill inside the site as Senses falls. There's the drop with the diffuser through that hatch as Nade gets on in. The plant is going to go on out. The smoke charge isn't touching him now. Zed is starting to become mobile, but is spotted on that drone. So now they know where he is. The plant has gone through. Foxer is low, but still alive. Chalet and Gun Havoc are pinned in connector. Zed starts a kill for the defense as he gets Maman. Looking for Gurmy Wormy down the end of Trophy now, though. Does see him for a second, but gets downed and cannot do any more impact to this round. Fox has run away and gone all the way up and above. Gun Havoc's legs are exposed to LZ, and he will get down. Chalet now has to find 4 attackers to keep Lethal's dreams alive here. He's going to push towards the diffuser, finds a Blackbeard and can't do it. And with that, Most Wanted will advance, and Lethal will go home.
A fantastic attack from Most Wanted. And unfortunately, it's what we talked about earlier. It's the game, it's the map knowledge coming through from Most Wanted. They obviously understood that map more. And Lethal, they tried to mix it up at the end there. They tried to get a little aggressive, put themselves in positions to stop Most Wanted from locking that round out, to stop the systematic, strategic take of the site. But they defaulted back and they got scared.
Same as what we saw